Cop attached himself to the car. What the hell? Is this a high-speed chase?
I want to know how you attached it. Did he have Velcro on his belt?
I mean, was this a scene? Did he jump on the? Was he holding on to the hood? Okay. I I mean, come on. They're never going to get a tournament again. This was their only chance to just, it's a misunderstanding, blah blah blah. Let bygones be bygones. Okay.
No, they're going to try to send a choir boy to jail. They want him to do some weekends. There's Scheffler picking up trash on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope your week got off to a good start, and thanks for spending part of your Tuesday morning with us. How the heck are you? We're Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well rested. I decided there was no way I could make Game 7 last night. I wanted to. The weekend beat me up, and I was nodding and dozing during the intermission and said, that's enough. I can't do it. I was afraid all night that if I watched the game, it was going to triple overtime.
Well, remember, you get the 17-minute intermission to make the call, okay?
I understand.
And you could have opted out of overtime, and it nearly went there. But the road team won yet another Game 7 where the road team wins. Thank you very much. It seems to be a theme in the last 48 hours. And, I made it through 2. All right. Edmonton was up 3-0, and I said, since they've got 12 shots on goal for the game, I don't think they'll put 3 more behind them. They put 2. I guess they made it interesting, but there you have it. So the conference finals are set in hoop and hockey, and in fact, they get underway tonight, just like that. Boom. Let's go. Let's go. Don't know how much of a series it's going to be. I'm actually, I think, not with conventional wisdom on this one. I think the Celtics would have rather played the Knicks because they knew the Knicks were a banged up mess. And forget, Anunoby, wasn't going to be able to play or was barely going to be able to play. Okay, before Brunson broke his hand. I actually thought the Celtics looked at the Knicks and said, well, look, come on, they got no shot against us. Whereas now they're facing an Indiana team that just beat the Knicks, went to MSG, won a Game 7, and they're coming into Boston going, yeah, okay, let's go. Throw the ball out.
And Porzingis isn't supposed to play until game 3.
At the earliest, right?
Indiana likes to run up and down. They can shoot. They're streaky like any team that plays with that type of style.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why they can't go in and make all their shots in the game 2 and take this back to Indiana 1-1.
And so I know everybody's like, oh, they don't want to face it. No, actually, I mean, this wasn't the Knick team that was together in January. That team was one of the 5 best teams in the league. That's not the team that was playing in May.
But the pressure doesn't come from whether it would have been the Knicks, but now it's the Pacers. The pressure on Boston comes from within Boston.
No doubt.
Because they know that they are the best team left standing and that this is their championship for the taking. And can they do the necessary things, avoid the letdowns that they've had in each round of the playoffs? They cannot give games away anymore.
They've given away a couple of game 2s at home in which they have just played lousy, seemingly disinterested at times. And yeah, you would like to think that now that you're more than halfway to a title, that those type of performances could stop. But yes, you know how in hockey, Mark, they say like the theme in Edmonton this year is cup or bust. Draisaitl said that after they got knocked out in the second round last year. He said this coming season was going to be cup or bust. In Boston, it's ring or bust. I mean, it's title or bust. Banner or, we'll go with the alliteration.
Look at you.
Banner.
First segment of the show.
Or bust. So you're right. I mean, they are the clear favorite. In hockey, there is not a clear favorite at all. I think there are 3 teams that are considered in the same area code and one that is half a step below.
That has the best player in the world on it.
Yes. Although he was held off the score sheet in 3 of the 7 games.
He's still the best player in the world.
Yes, he is. Just saying, though. Just saying, if Vancouver could keep him off the score sheet, I wonder what Dallas could do. So we'll see. But so there, our Final 4 is set, which means you got an awful lot of fan bases that are already looking ahead to drafts and free agency and what have you. But not in Florida once again. Panthers, 2nd year in a row. 3rd time in franchise history. Let's go. And the 2 previous times they got to the conference finals, they won. They went to the Cup both times.
And I think this series with the Rangers is fascinating because, again, Florida, to me, the better team 5-on-5, the more physical team. But if the physicality gets to a point where you start taking penalties, you cannot put the Rangers on the power play over and over because it's lethal. And I don't know if there are 2 better goalies playing in the postseason right now than Shesterkin and Bobrovsky.
Well, and I think if Florida's goalie had been playing on Carolina, that Carolina would be playing in the next round and not the Rangers. That the difference in that series was A, the power play, and B, the goaltending. And one figures that the power play could be an advantage for the Rangers in this series, but that the goaltending should be a wash. And can the Rangers win a series where they don't have the edge in goal? And Mark, statistically, analytically, the best team in the league 5-on-5 this year was the Florida Panthers. So, yeah, they stay out of the box, make the Rangers prove they can beat them 4 times in 2 weeks if they stay out of the box. It's a tough ask on the Rangers. Can they do it? Sure. Would they do it? No, I think if these 2 teams played 10 series, Florida would win 6 of them. Maybe even 7. But I think they'd win at least 6 of them. I just think they're too heavy. If that, what I'm talking about. That if Florida's a more physical team, all 4 of their lines can play heavy if they have to. The Rangers have a couple of lines that can play heavy. They've got some players who can play heavy. But every shift, they don't hit like Florida.
Well, and that's where the matchup to me are the Florida forwards against the Ranger defensemen, David, because the Florida forwards play with such tenacity. They forecheck so aggressively that the Rangers have to be able to make it's a lot of that first pass to get the puck out of the zone. To eliminate the forecheck, what do you have to do, David? You got to make a clean pass to get out of your zone. And the Rangers, it'll be necessary for them to be able to make those first passes to avoid the forecheck of the Panthers,
which I think is the best in the league and the heaviest. I do think a part of this series that's not being talked about, I don't think the Florida backline is as good as people give it credit for. I think Bob saves it sometimes. I think the same could be said in New York. And so, to me, the Rangers forwards have to be better than the Panthers defense. And I think there's some vulnerabilities there. I think there are less vulnerabilities along the four lines for Florida. I think that there's some D-men that could be pressured. I think their third defensive pairing is vulnerable. I really do. So we'll see. Should be a good series. Two experienced coaches. One's won the cup. The other hasn't. All right. You got the whole New York-Miami rivalry. It exists in other sports. So let's do this. Let's have some fun. And Dallas is the city right now. Texas Rangers, the reigning World Series champions, and Mavs and Stars in the conference finals. By the way, how bad does it make the Cowboys look? I mean, this is the Stars' second conference final in as many years, third in the last 5 seasons. This is the Mavs' second conference final in the last 3 seasons. The Rangers won the World Series. Cowboys haven't been to a conference championship game since the first term of the Clinton administration. How long ago does that seem? It's nearly 30 years. That's how long ago it is. Do you know there's only 2 NBA teams who have a drought as long as the Cowboys drought is right now in terms of getting to a conference final? The Washington franchise, Bullets/Wizards, haven't been since 79, and I don't believe Charlotte's ever been. But think about it. The Knicks have been in a conference final more recently than the Cowboys. The Sacramento Kings, the Philadelphia 76ers, all of whom have droughts that are older than 20 years, have been to a conference final more recently than the Dallas Cowboys.
It's funny, David, you brought up the Cowboys, and, I know it's the Final Four in each of the other sports, but I started writing down teams from 2 years ago that made the playoffs and teams from last year that made the playoffs, and trying to see that theme that you and I get into is how many teams this year,
right,
who made it a year ago, because there were 6 new playoff teams from the 2022-23 season to the 23-24 season, and how many will there be next year? And Dallas, to me, is one of those teams that's vulnerable.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Going from 12 wins in the NFC to out of the playoffs? Are you going there, young man?
Not yet. Not yet. I need straight edges, a lot of paper, and some schedules written down before I can get to that place. But I am just wondering aloud, as there'll be 6 teams typically who made the playoffs a year ago that will not qualify for the playoffs this year.
Wow. That's 43%, by the way, of new playoff teams. That's only 8 returning teams, 6 new ones. Well, it used to be 5 out of 12. That was the number. Sometimes it was 6, but it was almost always, for a quarter century, it was 5 out of 12 would be new. And even though now there are 2 more playoff berths for teams to return to the playoffs in, 6 out of 14 were new, huh? Interesting. All right. Well, you combine that with the week 1 results, right? Week 1 so telling. I say you just sit down, pick games week 1, and then from the winners, pick your playoff teams. Sounds crazy, but statistically, that's how we should do it. That's more accurate than anything else we have found. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us. Terrific show lined up today. David Samson, Pat Kirwan, and we're going to talk all the money in college sports again.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and with 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Is this where we put the graphic up?
Oh, crap.
Oh, I thought you're supposed to cover us up. I think they don't want to. Could you hear me there? I was talking to you.
No, I can't.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's the problem. If we go full screen, we can't talk,
correct.
and also it kind of defeats the purpose of Twitch.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to email them right now.
Okay. I'm going to go back to reading the rest of this front office sports article.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. David Samson to join us in 40 minutes time. A lot to talk to him about. There's actually a significant story, the business side of baseball, that came about yesterday. Got a few things to talk to David Samson about, one of which, by the way, we didn't get to last week. We had a few things going on at the end of last week, Mark. Namely, the number one golfer in the world was being arrested at a major championship. I mean, that derailed the show.
I don't know if it derailed it.
Well, no, actually, it had
put it on rails.
Right. It had great content to it, but, the best laid plans of mice and men. We table that stuff for another day. So did you see? So there was more than just Ohtani on the Angels, these last few years. I mean, he had 24 other teammates. And apparently, Mark, one of them, he also liked to gamble.
Okay.
And apparently was Ohtani's best friend on the team. So his best friend in real life was the interpreter. And his best friend on the team was using the same bookies that the interpreter was gambling with.
Huh. That's interesting.
And remember, Ohtani knows nothing about either.
Of course not. Of course not, David. How could he? I mean, he's just focused on pitching and hitting. He's got so much on his plate that he can't focus on the fact that now his two best friends are degenerate gamblers.
Right. Using the same illegal book service. And he doesn't know anything about it. I'll tell you. I'm trying to think, where's Ohtani's place in the mob here?
He's the godfather, for crying out loud. Everybody's protecting him.
Well, hold on. Is he the godfather, or was he Michael Corleone at the beginning, where, Michael wasn't involved in the mob? Michael was going to get into politics. All right. He wasn't going to be in the family business. I'm trying to think. What is Ohtani here? You're right. I think he's the godfather. He knows nothing. Man, everybody around him knows a lot. They got a lot going on. Ohtani? What are you talking about? What? He gambled too? Wait, the same people? No. Whew, man. I got to pay more attention to the people around me. He's getting away with this, right? I mean, apparently there's nothing to see here.
Thus far, David, he has completely gotten away with it. Unless this player were to come out and said Ohtani's gambling and the interpreter was just running the money. Outside of that, I want to see how Ohtani goes down here.
Well, and listen, for him to go down, our thought has always had to have been, listen, he would have had to have bet on baseball. I mean, you and I don't think he should be in trouble if he's betting on college football, right? I mean, okay, he's got a gambling problem. Well, that's serious. Get it under control, or stop gambling. But I mean, if you're not betting on baseball, I am of the belief, I don't know how we can have legalized sports betting to the extent that we do in this country. All right. And as a league, so what is your policy? If you're an athlete, you can't bet, period. Sorry. The rest, all the fans can bet, you can't. Okay. I disagree with that. But if that's your policy, it's either one or the other, right?
There's no middle ground, David.
Either you can bet on everything but the sport you're playing, or B, you can't bet on anything at all.
Those seem to be the two choices. I mean, there's not a lot of gray area between one or the other, David. That would be it.
So, in theory, Otani could have done, quote, nothing wrong, unquote, here. Because to us, the only way you're doing something wrong is if you bet on baseball.
You're right. Maybe not go down, but if we were to find out at this point that it was Otani gambling, he'd be a fraud.
Yes. But if none of the bets were baseball bets, this is what we were saying a couple months ago, that originally Otani was being dragged in. We couldn't believe that this interpreter making $300,000 to $400,000 a year rang up $5 million worth of gambling debts. We just didn't think that there was a bookie around who would, get in that big a hole. And then all of a sudden the checks started coming in, and reportedly at least one of them had Otani's signature on it. And wait, the guy has access to Otani's money? Huh? I know spouses who don't have access to their money, but okay, whatever. But to us, he's in trouble here if he's betting on baseball.
Right, but he's also, if he's betting, period, David, he's a fraud.
Well, he's a liar, certainly. He's a liar, I guess.
No, he's a fraud because he's letting his buddy go to, unless his buddy is the interpreter there, is the greatest human that's ever walked Earth.
Taking the fall.
He's going to jail, man.
Oh, yes, he is, man.
Not taking the fall. It's not, hey, I took David out last night and we were out till 2. It's my fault. We went to the strip joint on me. No. He's going to jail.
He's taking the full weight, Mark. Got to use my, my mob movie terminology. He's taking the full weight, Mark.
Okay. Seen a lot of mob movies. I don't recall taking the full weight ever being a part of any Sopranos, Godfather, Goodfellas, Miller's Crossing.
You know what? Maybe I got that confused with the 200 Law and Orders.
Or the Pope of Greenwich Village.
But I don't like being lied to. I don't like being treated like a fool. I'm stupid enough on my own. Aren't you?
Completely.
Aren't we dumb enough on our own for you to treat us like we're really stupid? I mean, come on now. So let me get this straight. So his two best friends in America, one's a teammate, one's the interpreter. They're both betting a lot with this one illegal book service. Your money helped pay off your interpreter's gambling debts. And you don't know nothing about nothing? Okay. I know it's possible, but whew. It does make you believe if you're not a conspiracy person. Doesn't it make you think a little bit like, have some powerful forces gotten together here?
Well, then you could really go conspiracy theory, because wasn't it the Prime Minister of Japan that was over right at the beginning of this?
Oh, yeah. As the story was really heating up,
right.
He met with President Biden in California.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, let's if we're going to go conspiracy theory, Mark, I mean, listen.
Let's go.
Oswald didn't act alone, man. I mean, you got to go to the highest levels. Let's bring in the mob, the CIA, the whole. No, if you're going to go. If you're going to go conspiracy theory here, you got to say that this is way beyond Major League Baseball. Yeah, that the Prime Minister of Japan is saying, listen, this would be a national disgrace. We can't afford this. What do you need in return? Well, we need to sell a few more cars. Done. Okay, good. Like to hear it. No? Too outlandish? Too out there? All right. I guess Oswald acted alone.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about it,
Florida Sports Network.
I sent you to a text about that. I mean, don't you? I mean, first off, guys, we're working on something. Sorry that we have to experiment during today's show.
Yeah, so the problem is, like David was explaining, if we put up a graphic on Twitch that covers the full screen, then we can't communicate.
Right. And then also they can't hear, right. We can't communicate, and if either one of us are talking, they can't hear it.
Right.
So
like David said, it defeats the whole purpose of Twitch for the rest of.
Right. So I put it up for the first minute and a half for the network break and then took it back down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to figure out is it this 5 minutes that is when they really want the graphic? Because obviously,
yeah.
Because in theory, we certainly can't do it during the first 2.5 minutes because that's ours. No, guys, we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose it either. Okay. Our affiliate in Jacksonville is taking our show via Twitch, and they asked us to put up a graphic during the commercials. And so we're working on it. We're trying to figure out if we can do it, and if so, how. And we just need to fully understand what it is that doing our normal broadcast is problematic for them during the commercial breaks. Like what I'm wondering is, like us talking right now, are they airing a commercial, but our audio is going over it? So we'll see if we can figure it out. What's our poll question again today?
Who would you pay, Tua or Trevor? I don't know if we want to change the wording of that at all, but
whose future stock are you buying? More interested in buying Trevor Lawrence, Tua? Which quarterback stock?
Which quarterback are you more confident in paying long term?
Yeah. Not necessarily Baxberg. Apparently, the Canucks only had 5 shots on goal in the third period. And they scored the first goal with like 8 and change left, but then they did make it 3-2 with like 4.5 to go.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before David Samson joins us at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us on the show today. Amanda Christovich will join us. We'll try to get into the topic that Amanda has been writing about for the last few days. Great reporting that this convoluted mess that is college sports and the money in and around it. And Congress and urging of them to get involved and what it could mean. Apparently it's coming to a head here this summer. We're bringing Amanda back on just a couple weeks after we had her on because apparently there's a lot more going on. So there. Hey, we had a poll question yesterday that we came up with for today. What is it?
which quarterback are you more confident in paying long term? Trevor Lawrence or Tua?
Ooh, Trevor or Tua. One guy's been in the league 4 years. One guy's been in the league 3 years. Both eligible for contract extensions. Both teams negotiating with both. Looks like they're both going to pay him. So basically, if you could only pay one, which one would you pay?
Correct.
Who would you pay?
Trevor Lawrence out of the two.
Yeah, I would too. It's a big year for him and them, though.
It's a monster year for the
big
Jags.
Big step sideways, if not a step back at the end. I mean, that's oof.
Yeah, big step sideways, half a step back, if you ask me, David.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden they're not even the favorite in the division? What? How did that happen so quickly? So we'll get more into that, but that's our poll question. Whose stock are you buying more going forward? You know, if you can only pay one, who are you paying, Trevor or Tua? So there you have it. How funny is it? So Tua's the one who played all 17 games last year.
Right.
And Trevor's the one who got banged up.
That's
and
correct.
It affected his performance and he missed some time. It's funny how sports works. 20 minutes before the hour. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, believe it or not, we're going to start with golf. There was a report yesterday that the charges against Scotty Scheffler were going to be dropped today. Yeah, that is 100% unequivocally wrong. In fact, authorities in Louisville protested Scotty Scheffler through his attorney just moving the arraignment back a couple weeks. I mean, in a nutshell, Scheffler's playing this week. Tuesday's a big, pro-am day, practice day. I mean, Scheffler he just wants to go, he's committed to this tournament, wants to play it. And then, let's push it back after the holiday. And actually, let's move it to Monday, June 3rd. That works for me. And Louisville said, no, man, we don't want to give you special treatment. The judge said, Yeah, I don't see a problem with Monday, June 3rd. What's the problem here? So his Scheffler's been pushed back nearly, his arraignment pushed back nearly 2 weeks. In other golf news, yesterday was a U.S. Open qualifying day. Patrick Reed had not missed a major since 2013, but he's not going to be in the U.S. Open, Mark. He withdrew midway through 36-hole qualifying yesterday. So Patrick Reed, after 42 consecutive majors, is not going to be in the U.S. Open. Sergio tried to qualify in Dallas. He ended up in a 7-for-6 playoff, and he ended up being the odd guy out.
Wow.
So Sergio,
Think about that. You're a bunch. I mean, the guys in that playoff aren't tour. A lot of them are going to be tour players.
Nope.
And they're staring darn Sergio in a playoff, and they beat him.
Yep. The Masters champion of 7 years ago is the first alternate coming out of Dallas for the U.S. Open. Hockey. There was a Game 7. Edmonton dominated the first 50 minutes of the game. They led 3-0. Vancouver, with 2 goals in a 4-minute span, late third, made it interesting. But Edmonton wins 3-2. They win the series 4-3. It's Edmonton who will head to Dallas for the Western Conference Final beginning Thursday. By the way, the West on TNT. The East begins tomorrow night in New York. Rangers with home ice against the Panthers. A true toss-up series. Miller and Moulton both think the Panthers are slight favorites. That series will be on ESPN.
But when listening, you know that the Rangers will seem like the favorite, and it will be undeniable because of the way the game is broadcasted. They're not aware of who the Rangers are playing yet at ESPN.
No. Now, I will say, they're somewhat familiar with the Panthers only because in the second round, they played the Bruins. Okay. And Sean McDonough was very familiar with who was playing for the Bruins. It's the team he grew up rooting for. Just saying. So, there's I think they're familiar with Barkov.
If you thought Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals were one-sided, wait until we get to Rangers-Panthers. Think Spike Lee's doing a guest appearance, but I'm not certain.
I think Barkley is also. Anyway, NBA Eastern Finals get underway tonight, baby. No rest for the Pacers. Let's go. Short flight to Boston. Let's do this. Game 1 tonight, 8 o'clock ESPN. Once again, hockey and basketball. The East on the 4-letter network. The West on the 3-letter network. Celtics Pacers. Boston favored by 10.5. I think I'd take the points Game 1. Boston's had a long layoff. I think Indiana shows up and they just keep playing. But what do I know? Boston's won both Game 1s convincingly.
Right. Boston's blown.
Playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah. But just saying. The West gets underway Wednesday. Dallas at Minnesota. T-Wolves a 4.5-point favor. By the way, have you heard when the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets Sunday night? Anthony Edwards comes on the TNT postgame show. And, the round table, and eventually they get around to Barkley. And Barkley's talking to him, and he says, hey, congratulations. Listen, I haven't been to Minnesota in 20 years. At which point, before Barkley could say another word, Anthony Edwards says, and I'm quoting, bring your ass. Yeah, the Minnesota Department of Tourism has turned that into a slogan. If you go to bringyouass.com, it leads you directly to the Minnesota Department of Tourism.
Nice.
And there will be billboards by tomorrow night in and around the Target Center that simply say, bring your ass. Yeah.
Is that UR''ASS?
I believe it's YA.
YA, okay.
Yes. It's bring ya YA and then your backside.com, Mark.com.
Well, certainly not a .org.
No. Or .gov. All right, to baseball. Not a good day for the Rays. First off, Zach Eflin, their opening day starter, he goes on the IL. He's going to miss 2 to 4 weeks with a back injury. Then they get shut out for a second straight day, 5-0. Rafael Devers, by the way, 6th straight game with a homer for the Red Sox. No one's ever done that in the history of the Red Sox. They've been playing baseball in Boston for a while. That's pretty impressive.
8 is the all-time record.
Correct. Dale Long, Don Mattingly. Did Junior also do it? I thought Junior may have tied it also. Marlins, however, scored 1 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th, beat the Brewers 3-2 and 10. You know, Miami's won 5 of 6. So they'll probably wait another week or so to start selling more guys off. All right. We've got a system, and it is working, ladies and gentlemen. It is working. It is the baseball doubleheader system. Team that wins the first game, you bet against in the second game. Padres rallied from a 5-0 deficit, beat the Braves 6-5. We backed up the truck on Chris Sale and the Braves in the nightcap, and he threw 7 shutout innings in a 3-0 Braves win. Thank you, Chris Sale. Mariners with 4 in the 9th off Clark Schmidt. Yankees closer had been virtually unhittable this year. I think he'd given up 1 run all year. 4 in the 9th against him and the Yankees. Snapped the Yankees' 7-game winning streak, 5-4 Seattle. And the Orioles were like, whew, thank goodness, because we lost to the Cardinals 6-3. Michael Ciani with his first career homer, and he had 4 RBIs. Guardians have won 4 in a row. They beat the Mets 3-1. Royals, they keep on keeping on, baby. They're 1.5 games back. They're 11 games over 500. 6 in the 6th for KC. They beat Detroit 8-3. Angels scored 7 in the 5th to beat Houston 9-7. Bo Bichette, 4 hits for the Jays and a 9-3 win over the White Sox. So the Nats snap a 5-game losing streak, but the Twins now losing streaks up to 7. 12-5 Washington over Minnesota. Freddie Freeman, a slam and a 6-run third inning. Dodgers 6-4 over Arizona. Hey, speaking of baseball, the SEC tournament's going on. I think it starts today in Hoover, Alabama. Did you see what they're going to do? They're going to do the double first base. So there's one base at first that's white. It's in fair territory. They got one base attached to it that's in foul territory that's green. In theory, obviously, runners running down the line, he touches the green base, the fielder's foot is on the white base, and then you avoid collisions and, injuries and what have you. The SEC's trying it out in the SEC tournament beginning today in Hoover. Yeah, it's interesting.
It seems like the wrong time to bring that in. Wouldn't you do it for the whole regular season to see if it works instead of waiting until the most important games of the season, the SEC tournament, to unveil something new? That seems backwards to me, David. I have no problem with innovation and trying new things. Their timing of this seems to be way off.
South Florida, by the way, fired their baseball coach, Billy Mole, after 7 years. 3 years ago, he took him to the Super Regionals. Problem is, the 6 years around that, he didn't do much. Had another losing season this year. Commissioner Manfred and some owners are talking about nationalizing baseball's TV rights so that basically all of us can see all of the games. What a novel concept. Devontae Parker retired. Remember, Dolphins first-round pick 9 seasons ago? 31 years old. He retired. He was in camp with the Eagles. Justin Jefferson, not at Vikings OTAs. Here's the interesting thing. He's been spotted in Florham Park, New Jersey. Mark, have you been to Florham Park, Jersey?
I have not. I have not taken Florham Park in.
It's a nice suburb. It is. They had a nice golf course that I played a couple times growing up. It was a country club. Don't know why they let me on it a couple times. It's also happened to be home of the Jets headquarters.
Right.
So what is Justin Jefferson doing in Florham Park, New Jersey in May? I'm not near any body of water either. It's not like it's near the shore. And besides, the water's freezing in May in Jersey. Just saying. Tua, by the way, who hasn't shown up for a lot of the off-the-field stuff yet, has shown up this week for OTAs, which are still voluntary. But Tua's shown up this week because they're working in the game plan. They're going to run some plays, that sort of deal. Finally, WNBA, Caitlin Clark and the Fever are 0-4, although they played a good game last night. They lost to Connecticut 88-84. Clark in 27 minutes, and this game has basically been her first 4 games in the WNBA. She played 27 minutes because of foul trouble. She's averaging almost 4.5 fouls a game. Okay, they're working her. They're making her play defense. They're working her. And
they are throwing and setting some hard picks on that young lady. I watched a good chunk of that game last night.
She's averaging 17 points a game. Okay. And she had 17 points last night. She's averaging 5.5 assists a game. She had 5 assists last night. She was 5-11 from the field, 3 of 7 for 3. Played 27 minutes. She's averaging about 31 minutes a game. Basically, last night so far is like her first 4 games. Not bad. 17 points, 5 assists. Struggle with foul difficulty.
Struggles with defense.
Struggles struggles on defense. You know, we said this, and who the hell are we? We went through Steph Curry's first 4 years after Davidson, and we said, you know, he didn't become Steph Curry for about 4 years. We're just saying. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. David Samson is next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few Joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, David.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. New camera? You look very crisp this morning.
It's a new camera, new lighting, new microphone holder. There's been some capital expenditures.
The camera pops. I mean, it is definitely noticeable.
It is a better camera, no doubt. And I'll be able to travel with this one as well. So this should be the look every Tuesday now.
Good.
How have you been?
Very good. Yourself?
Good. Can't complain. It feels like a bit of a grind at the moment. This is sort of the dog days of the year for whatever reason.
I think there's another month of where there's something there, but June, July starts getting time to take vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't take a lot of days off. Do you do a show on Monday?
We're not. We'll do a best of. And then we're taking the first week of July off. David's wife's having surgery. I'm taking a little vacation. So Trent, our producer, is going to do the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday shows 1st through the 3rd. And then we'll run best ofs on the 4th and 5th.
Love it. Do you normally take together a week, or do you try to take different weeks off?
Try to take separate. This one actually we've tried to take the first week of July every year. It kind of just with the 4th of July, it works out that it's not a whole week and people are gone. So we've gotten away with that.
Got it. Okay.
So how'd you handle 1 week in the same spot? Did you move last week, or did you get on a plane last week?
No.
See?
I did not. I think I may have been here the same place last week, though I can't remember where I was last Tuesday. But I think it's likely I was here, although I don't remember. The weeks go so quickly, it's hard to believe, actually.
Just had to vote in our poll question here. I have to admit, your Miami friends, they take great glee in the New York teams losing. And I find that funny because if it wasn't for New York, there wouldn't be a Miami. But
they take great glee in having content. So if it can't be Miami, New York is a big audience. It's good to have New York. And then, of course, it's good to just play the counter.
Right. You a hockey guy at all?
I've been watching. I'm a hockey playoff guy. I love the NHL playoffs.
You know people. You could probably go.
I am. I'm going tomorrow night. I'm going to game 1 and 5 at the Garden.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that.
I'm toying with the idea of paying the money necessary to take in one of the games in
Here we go.
Florida.
Happen often.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
If it's Tuesday and if it's 7 a.m. in the East, that means David Samson. He have nothing personal with David Samson, an award-winning podcast that he does live weekdays at 8 a.m. And oftentimes we get kind of a preview of at least some of what he is going to talk about. You can follow David on X at David the letter P Samson. David P Samson, we're not used to seeing you like this, okay? Because you look very well rested. All right. You're not on a world tour. We're not having to remind you what day it is, what city you're in. You look sharp, ready to go. We have no idea what we're dealing with today.
It is amazing what makeup and 3 hours of sleep can do. I'll tell you that. But the lack of 10:30 NBA start times has been a huge help in terms of that. Though there was a 9 o'clock Game 7, which I assume everybody watched, with Edmonton squeaking past Vancouver. I was rooting for Vancouver, I must admit. But this is playoff time. It's such a great time of year. This is my second favorite part of the year, with the first, of course, being October.
Which one do you like better, the hockey playoffs or the hoop playoffs?
I like Game 7s in hockey are my favorite Game 7s of any sport. And Game 7 hockey overtime is the number one of the number one, of course. And then I like MLB playoffs because it's the slow burn of the games and how the series works. And then NBA. Listen, I am still so cursed. I was a huge Knicks fan for 30 years of my life. And I mean huge, to the point where I wouldn't go out if the Knicks were playing a regular season game. I'd watch the game on the road, go to games at home. I was lucky enough to be at Game 7, and I'm not a fan the way I used to be because of my career, so I can't be. But I'll tell you, it was so good to be back in the building on Game 7 on Sunday, and we saw history. I've never seen a game like that, because there's never been a game like that in the history of the NBA playoffs.
Best offensive performance in a playoff game ever by the Pacers, shooting 67%. Ever, right.
That means Magic and Jordan and Bird and Bill Russell and Cousy. Doesn't matter who. Never has anyone played like that. So it has nothing to do with Brunson breaking his hand or Randall or Bogdanovich. It doesn't matter. They could have had Jordan. They could have had the 1992 Dream Team, and the Pacers would have won that game.
Well, let's just take it easy here.
When you shoot 67%,
but they're not going to shoot 67% against the Dream Team.
I'm watching these shots. They were contested shots. They just all went in. I've never seen anything like it. I'll tell you one thing. I've been looking.
Home field advantage means a whole hell of a lot, doesn't it, David?
Yeah, we've just had 3 Game 7s in 36 hours. The home team's 0-3.
I focused on that on the show yesterday. If you're Adam Silver and you're telling your guys, hey, you got to play during the regular season, and I'm the coach saying we got to play for positioning. We want home field advantage. We want the Game 7 on our court. And the players say, I don't give a flying rat's pituitary gland where we play in Game 7. I don't want to play on a random Thursday in February, because the road teams seem to be doing just as well as the home teams, if not better. So that's really negative to me when all these road teams keep winning Game 7.
So that's how you clean it up? You go pituitary gland?
Yeah, because I don't want to say ass, so I say pituitary gland.
Thanks for that.
Well, yeah, but tell me you're not going to have fun. Can you, by the way, say it, okay, in your podcast in 55 minutes? You've caught, obviously, Anthony Edwards and what he said to Charles Barkley, and that's turned into a Minnesota Department of Tourism slogan, bring ya ass. And I'm trying not to sound white there. You have to say it a certain way or else you sound very white. Bring ya ass.
We get a list of words that we can't. It's like the George Carlin list of words.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you guys get that, but I get the list. There's a list. And I look at it, and I don't say many of those words. I'm not a big swearer on the air at all. Like Pablo Torre swears all the time. So the producers, it's a total pain in the neck. You have to beep it, and you have to mark it where it is on the show that it happens.
Right.
I'm not a big swearer, and I generally don't have the words at the tip of my tongue. But ass is a word I say because I feel that way sometimes. Players play that way sometimes. You can look and feel. So it's a pretty descriptive word.
It is, and there's no easy way to transition into what the next question is, so we'll just jump in there. Nationalizing TV rights.
Great topic.
For Major League Baseball. This is, as someone who has cut the cord and gets MLB TV and still can't watch the Marlins and Rays because they're both blacked out, it becomes rather annoying. Is this going to do anything to the blackouts, or are they want to continuing the blackouts, or would this end that?
It would end the blackouts, but here's the big problem. The commissioner has been very clear. He's trying to get the rights to all 30 teams back under the MLB umbrella, like going back to the future. But NGTH, baby, it's never going to happen.
No.
There's deals that go out to the 2030s, and More importantly, there's 7 teams at least who will block this. In order to get this done, you have to have a vote of 23-7. And I can come up with 7 teams off the top of my head, and they will easily recruit an 8th where the nationalizing of all broadcast revenue will never be approved. It doesn't mean baseball won't do its own streaming with 14 teams or 16 teams, which they're trying to do, assuming the Diamond bankruptcy goes through and they don't reorganize. But the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Mets, they're never going to put their broadcast revenues back into the national kitty, therefore splitting them equally amongst the 30 teams.
And that's why literally maybe the greatest thing that happened in pro sports was when Pete Rozelle 60 years ago somehow convinced Hallis and Mara and to let the Bears and the Giants said, yeah, sure, we'll be one of the guys instead of being our own conglomerate, which at the time they certainly could have been.
And it's funny, we're looking back as an industry in baseball. We look at football and we genuflect in their general direction while holding our nose. But the fact that they share all national revenue and the fact that there is no local broadcast revenue and the fact they have a salary cap and a salary floor, it enables teams in every size market to compete. It's now based on how good are you at putting a football team together, because in theory, you can build and you can win, you can tear down, tank, and then win again very quickly. And the other sports just have a harder time doing that. Basketball is a bit easier than baseball, and baseball being the hardest one.
He's David Samson. Nothing personal with David Samson. He records it live weekdays at 8 a.m. You can follow him on X at David, the letter P, Samson, David P. Samson.
Well, you said we got to get to the month of May before there's firings. We're almost done with the month of May. There's been no real upheaval in baseball. Do you expect some soon? Because there are some teams that are woefully disappointing right now.
There certainly are. So this is now the time. We are in the 20s of May. The Cardinals have to take a long look at where they are. I don't think the Astros will give up on Espada. They're playing better. There's, the White Sox were playing better with Tommy Pham. Give me a break. They're not doing well. But the question is, which teams will say that by making a managerial change, will we play to our potential? And I don't believe that John Mozeliak of the Cardinals can look at his team and say, we're a managerial change away. And he tends to not be delusional the way I used to be, where I was, hey, let's fire our manager. And all of a sudden, click, that's going to do it. In terms of buyers or sellers, take a look at the National League. You can be mediocre and you're in the wild card race, really mediocre. Like the Mets can say, hey, we're in the race, which really hurts the Mets. So here's the crazy part. When you're in a race that you don't deserve to be in, it tends to inform your actions around the deadline. Steve Cohen is not going to sell and trade players, even though he should, because his team stinks. But he's not going to because he's so close to the wild card. As a new owner, he can say, hey, we're 1 6-game winning streak, 1 9-1 stretch away from being a true playoff team. And when owners do that, it tends to change how they act.
But, you guys obviously in 2003, you made the managerial change and it worked like a charm. You won the World Series. I mean, the teams I look at out there, first off, the Reds with the way the month is going. But how about the Blue Jays? I mean, come on.
Great one.
I mean, the GM just came out over the weekend and said, no, the manager's doing a great job. Okay.
Ignore that.
Oh, okay.
They
But I
all
mean,
say that.
there's a team. I mean, I've been saying at the beginning of the year, I said he was going to be first manager fired. Don Mattingly's his bench coach, for goodness sake.
Donnie is ready to go. There's no question about it. And the problem is that firing Schneider, to me, it's really now acknowledging that the core that you thought was going to have this window of success, it turns out is not, because they're getting older, closer to free agency. And it becomes an indictment of you as the personnel people, as in Shapiro and Atkins. So I can see them not making a managerial change for the simple reason that would then make it easier to blame the players at the end of the season and move on from them versus signing them to long-term deals. And I'm thinking about Guerrero specifically. I'm not sure how you give Guerrero the type of money that I know he expects. I'm not sure what you do with your players. And it's not like the Blue Jays don't spend, but that's the reason I don't put them on a list of a team that will fire their manager. But of course, we could finish taping today and boom, he's gone because they've been disappointing. I picked him to win the division, for crying out loud.
Yeah, well, that's a you problem, though.
I had him in the playoffs, so
it's not over. It's just mostly over.
Yeah, it's over. For the Blue Jays are not winning the East. They can still make the playoffs, but they ain't winning the East.
It's going to be hard. I did not have the Yankees being able to survive without Cole the way they have. Their offense, Soto's been terrific. Obviously, their offense, they're scoring runs. They had a closer. I just was speaking to Coca preparing for today's show, and we were talking about Holmes and the fact that he was 0.00. And I said, as an executive, I didn't like that. I don't want any of my pitchers to be at 0.0 because they're going to give up runs. And I would say to the manager, can we put Holmes in a non-safe situation, let him give up those runs? Because we know what's going to happen. And no sooner did we put it in the show yesterday afternoon that he blew the save last night and the Mariners came back to win. It doesn't mean he hasn't been great. It just means that no one can be perfect.
Gave up 4 in the 9th. Yankees 7-game winning streak snapped Seattle with a 5-4 win. David Samson. Nothing personal with David Samson. He records it in 47 minutes, 8 a.m. weekdays. You can follow him on X at David, the letter P, Samson. Hey, listen, try to wear yourself out. Run a marathon, go cross-country flight. We like it when you're on an hour and a half sleep and you look like hell.
See you later. Because it makes you both look better?
Exactly.
Is that it?
Thank
comparatively speaking?
Finally figured it out there, big fella.
Genius.
David Samson joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan will join us coming up at the top of the hour. Amanda Christovich to talk to business, college sports, in a little more than an hour here on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Kilo's dad, the Blue Jays answer was David doesn't think that the GM's going to fire the manager because then that's really an acknowledgement that the guys that the GM picked are not doing the job. What he thinks they're going to do is they're going to wait to the end of the year and then they're going to break up the core of the team and they're going to blame the players. No, our Jacksonville affiliate wants they take our show off of Twitch, and during commercials they want something like this. Only I think they want it with a solid background. And when we do that, however, we get knocked off Twitch. So we just have to figure it out. Irish football, you name me the Blue Jay who's worthy of the long-term contract that they're asking for. Michael, we're well aware of that. Jeff reached out to us. We talked about it yesterday, how the college that he plays for is going out of business on May 31st. And they literally may be representing a school in the World Series that doesn't exist. The thing I feel badly for is that Zito, I mean, his kid's graduating. And his kids now
should have a doctorate. He's been in college so long.
I know. Kids
miss 24.
Yeah. Kids
you're younger than mine. I mean,
I know when I was direct messaging him, I'm like, wait, that's your son? Because I'm like, wait, I thought your son should have been done, like a year ago.
He's got more eligibility than Art Schleister.
Rick Leach.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour. Trent Bally and his play of the day coming up in a half a dozen minutes. Is that a Pistons cap?
Of course.
Wow.
Sometimes from afar, people think it's a Cubs hat, but no.
Is that just a brave young man there, Mark, or is that you think somebody who had bedhead and just woke up this morning and
he doesn't have any hair to have bedhead? He keeps his hair at like a 0 for crying out loud. He's one step above bald.
It's cropped pretty tight. It is.
He's just a hat guy.
And it was black. I went all black today. I don't know why. Was feeling it.
You well, I mean,
I own a lot of black.
You own a lot of Detroit Piston hats too.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3.
I have to admit, somebody as skinny as you probably need to find a different color. I mean, you're a little too young to be wearing all black. I mean, somebody like me should be wearing black all the time.
It's not always a conscious decision to buy black or acquire black. It's just
By the way, it's a pet peeve of mine. I say it, boy, it wasn't a fight, but it was just
it's a pet peeve of yours. You have pet peeves?
Give me 12 seconds to explain. I believe that women wear way too much black. And I know they're always, conscious. They want to look thin and what have you. You're beautiful. You are. We love you. You're beautiful. Trust me. Many more good looking you than there are good looking us. Okay. You're fine. Wear colors. Okay. Wear colors. We like colors. We do. All right. Bring attention to yourself.
I like the little black dress. I'm not going to lie.
Well, doesn't have to be all the time, but I'm just saying everything doesn't have to be black. That's all. You look good. Trust me, we're with you. We think you look great.
You look great no matter what you're wearing.
See?
Look at
Okay.
the single guy over there acting like he's
He's just desperately trying to, well, let's see. No more Appleton. Maybe Racine is on line 1. Okay, whatever. But that's, you've got the lingo down, Trent. That's it. Whenever they ask, do I look fat the answer is no. Do I look good? The answer is always yes. Okay, so just branch out, wear some color. I feel like
I want to know from you guys, if your wife asks you which of these two things do you like, do you actually pick one, or do you say you look great in both?
No, I pick. I'm asked that all the time.
Yeah. No,
I'm asked, should I wear which shoes? Those.
Okay. Well, I just didn't know, because if that might break the protocol of it's always
No.
Either one.
No. First off, we're married now. You can be truthful now. I mean, trust me, this thing isn't going to end over the color of a dress. Okay. Reason for the divorce. Well, he said I needed to wear blank for Easter. I mean, no, it's not going to happen. So, there are certain outfits that we all look better in. Okay. Certain colors. We used to have this discussion in local television all the time. Honestly, all the time, in which we would look up and guys would go up to certain women and go, that's a good color for you. That's all I'm saying. Not being inappropriate, just saying that's a good color for you. Keep that in mind. And then you just walk away.
One of the reasons I'd like more people to take the show in on Twitch or YouTube is because when David just did that, he tried to come off as being concerning and helpful. But if you walk up to a woman and point at her in the way that you did, that's a good color for you, it would scare the hell out of most women.
Well, but in
You're
theory,
a pointer.
I am a pointer. Okay, I'm a pointer. I'm a hugger. I am. All right. I am a pointer. That is true. But if you're with me in a newsroom, I mean, I'm not shy. So you just go, it's that guy again. You just learn to deal with me.
Have you told any of the high-level female talent that you work with now that certain colors look good on them, or have you quit that?
No, absolutely. No, I tell them all. I tell every single one. Yeah.
Have any of them, I would imagine most of them, because you're now, like their father's age, and you're very,
right.
You're not at all scary in that regard.
No.
But do any of them take it and look at you and go, you're wearing an untucked shirt, you've got slides on, and you look a wreck. I don't need advice from you on what I wear. Or do they all just nod and wave?
No, and then trust me, by now if a woman is looking at you like you're a creep. Okay. And no, I don't get that. Okay. Because I'm pretty serious at what I do. Why would I make that comment to them if it wasn't true? It's not like I comment about listen.
It's just, no, I mean, you're there for you're there for information.
Well, also, believe it or not, I have a touch of credibility. All right. I do that. The guys I work for have spoken well of me. All right. And so the people around them actually think that I kind of sort of know what I'm doing. And I only do it to help them. I've gone up to network talents and said, yeah, that didn't work. Okay. No, I know what you were trying to do there and what have you. It didn't work. Okay. I go about it this way. All right. I mean, listen, we all just want to be good. We all want to do good job. And listen, you got millions of people watching. You don't want to look bad. You don't want to screw up. We're all just trying to have the product be better. You know me, Mark. I am egoless when it comes to the job. I don't care who you are. We're here to do a job. You know me. I have gotten in trouble for it. I have told presidents of networks, get out of here. Okay. You know me. I don't care. Fire me when the game's over. Get out of here.
So let's just say you lose the Masters.
Exactly. Right. looked at the incoming president of CBS Sports, and I go, hypothetical, just play along with me here. Let's just say you lose the Masters. He looked at me like, I'd rather have my wife divorce me and take all my kids and money away from me. I'm like,
Lose the Masters?
Lose the Masters? What do you do with all the cables under the ground? They're CBS's. Do you just say to NBC, you can have them? What do you do? He's like, shut up. Stop talking.
Just a hypothetical.
Right.
This is not, however, a hypothetical. It is our play of the day. Trent Valley with the Molly Maid play of the day.
It's a layup because we had a Game 7 last night. The Oilers beat the Canucks 3-2, and here's Jack Michaels on the call for 6:30 CHED in Edmonton in the final seconds.
12 seconds. Center pass, one timer blocked. Rebound loose. Miller fans. The Oilers clear up the right hand side. Hyman lost it. 5 seconds. Rodick blasted. It was tipped into the far corner. And Edmonton has won Game 7. 3-2. The Oilers advance to the Western Conference Final.
Kind of a big deal. 3-2. They move on in a 7-game series. Canucks going home. But Canada wins either way. And there's your Molly Maid play of the day.
I'm wondering if he can keep that voice up for 7 games in the Western Conference Final. That's some enthusiasm.
And we did it. Well, it's only life or death in Edmonton. It's not a big deal. The Oilers in the postseason. It's not a big deal at all.
You know what I've noticed this year? I don't know why it took me this long, but in hockey, it's the Western Conference Final, and in basketball, it's the Western Conference Finals. Like, what's with the difference in the verbiage? You know what I'm saying? Maybe not, but I've noticed it this year in particular.
It's offside in hockey. It's offsides
in soccer,
in football or soccer,
and football. Same thing. Sometimes depends what country you're in.
Why do we drive on a parkway and park on a driveway?
Thank you, Stephen Wright. Whether you drive on a parkway or park in a driveway, call Molly Maid to get your house cleaned at 239-774-5839. That's 774-5839 for Molly Maid, the best in the business.
Saw Stephen Wright a couple years ago. Funny man. Funny is funny. Miller and Moulton. Sometimes funny, sometimes inappropriate.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Edmonton wasn't doing the American anthem in that series because it was Vancouver, but their anthem singer sits like basically is in the crowd instead of on the ice.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. TC, yes. Or what?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes till the top of the hour. That's when Pat Kirwan joins us. Amanda Christovich will join us 1 hour from now. Whew, there is some heavy-duty stuff going on. Not necessarily behind the scenes either. Out in the open. Just don't know how many people are paying attention to it with everything else going on in the sports world and the world of college sports.
And to be brutally honest, why would they? We don't pay attention to lobbyist groups, and that's the big part of this. And it's been going on for years. What has been going on in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the NCAA and the Power 5 conferences is astonishing, the money they've spent on lobbyist groups.
Well, and it's a two-pronged assault right now. So the first thing they're trying to do is they're trying to settle this antitrust case, which in theory, they're going to come up with a couple of $2 billion and they're going to give it to athletes from years gone by because they got, short-ended with this whole NIL deal. Okay, whatever. Well, then there's a big argument as to who's going to pay the money. First the NCAA was going to do it. Well, that would bankrupt them. Then the big schools were going to do it. And they're like, we ain't picking this whole thing up. What's the NCAA for? Then the big schools and the NCAA are trying to push as much as they can off on, the non-big time schools and the non-football schools. And those schools and conferences are going, what the heck? We don't play football. We don't even get a say in this deal. You're going to stick us with this money? I don't think so. The Big East commissioner came out the other day and go, no. Just tell you right now, no. Apparently they want $70 million from them. No. How about that? That's our answer. No. So there's that front. And then there's what Mark's also alluding to. They've spent $15 million, have the NCAA lobbying Congress. $15 million lobbying this Congress. And they're trying to get some laws passed, which is going to severely take away everything that's going on right now. So they're going to try, up front, hey, we're paying the athletes $2 billion. And, what we are. And the current athletes, though? Oh, no. We're changing the rules.
And not just the current athletes, the future athletes.
Correct.
I mean, that's the other part of this. They are trying to lock in amateurism for the rest of time, right, that athletes can't come back and try to change that model ever. And they're trying to do it through Congress. And when one group has all the lobbying power,
right,
and the other group has no one. I mean, literally, there is no one on the Hill representing the other. There's a couple of small groups and people, but we're talking the biggest firms, the biggest lobbyist firms in D.C. are all being hired by conferences and the NCAA.
And apparently they're trying to put a bill together in which it literally is going to be something that can't be overturned in court, is what I read.
Sounds like the ACC grant of rights deal.
Which I didn't think was possible.
I didn't either.
Isn't that partly why we have the court system? Isn't it a constant checks and balances, right? Weren't we taught that? Right after we learned about conjunction junction, what's your function? Hooking up words and phrases and clauses. Didn't we learn about the whole, legislative, judicial, executive, all supposed to, no? All right. Amanda Christovich in about 55 minutes to talk about a pretty big story out there. I could argue it's the biggest story in sports. You really could. But Amanda will join us in 55 minutes for that. Hey, did you catch Bryce Harper here recently? Did you see the video
of him helping a young man get a prom date?
So they're calling it now apparently promposals is what it is. That's a thing now. You make a big deal about asking the girl to the prom.
Yeah, we went through. Trent did something wild.
I made a big sign. And
Yeah.
I said, I ain't lying in all blue capital letters.
The lion.
I got it.
I'd love to take you to prom. And I gave her a Lions t-shirt. She still wears it.
How'd prom go?
It was a mess. Prom was terrible. We're all still good friends, though, all these years later.
Well, that's good to know.
Whenever she wears the shirt, she sends me a picture.
That's nice of her.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Hope her husband likes it.
Bum. Hope she's, hope when she wears his nightshirt one day, okay, and she's explaining to her fiance or husband, she goes, oh yeah, the guy I went to high school prom gave me the shirt, and he just kind of looks at her and she goes, don't know what to tell you. I like him and I like the shirt. Deal with it.
Does she have to get rid of the shirt if she gets married?
I don't know. You'll have to ask whoever this gentleman is. It's really up to him. But anyways, yes, promposals are very much alive and well.
So they're a thing. And so Bryce Harper during the season, I guess he and his wife used to live in Vegas. They moved to Nashville. Who hasn't moved to Nashville? And so, but during the season, they live across the bridge and they live in a little community in Jersey. And so he got to know, people in the community and what have you. And one of the neighbors,
unlike Miller and Moulton, he's neighborly.
Exactly. Right. He's friendly with them. He talks with them. Okay. And got to know this one, family and then the young man. And so he was a little shy about asking this girl to the prom. And Bryce Harper said, I'll be your wingman. Apparently she's a big Phillies fan. I'm a big Bryce Harper fan. And so Bryce actually did the asking.
The best part of it is she says yes and then hugs Bryce Harper.
Right.
That's my favorite part of the whole thing.
Right. First.
Well,
right.
yeah.
Hugs Bryce first. Right. Well, he was the one that asked. Okay. Hey, I'm here with, whatever, he just wants to know, would you go to prom with him? She's like, yes. So, but yes, she did. She hugged Bryce first. She did give the young man an enthusiastic hug, though. I mean, she does seem as if she genuinely is thrilled that he asked her to the prom, but really thrilled that he did it through Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I think it's the latter. I don't know. I would have struggled in today's world with the promposal. What happened to just, do you want to go to prom? Yes. Okay.
Apparently now it's a thing.
Right.
Well, because of social media. Social media made it a thing. Now you have to show off to everybody how much effort you put in. And did you stack up well?
Did everybody do these, or
yes, did everybody? If you asked without an event or a sign or a thing.
No, what if you had a steady
weird
girlfriend or something along those lines? Did you still have to go through this charade?
Still got to do it.
Oh, my.
Really?
Goodness.
Yep. I mean, we used to do it like in between periods in the hallway.
Correct.
Well, this is why they call it a promposal. It's like a proposal. People set up candles. They do these romantic things. It has to be a thing. It has to be documented, and it has to be shown off. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. This is just how it is now.
And it probably won't end anytime soon, so I'm going to have to deal with some young man.
Yes, you
are. At some point, asking my daughter to prom. I'm going to be 60-something years old when this happens. with a fire. He's going to light candles in my yard. I'm coming out with a fire hose.
You see fire and go, honey, someone's trying to light the house on fire. Thanks, Dad. And he'll have it on video too. You out there with the fire extinguisher.
Right.
It'll be great.
Unbelievable.
I don't know. Proms are a sore subject with me. Never went to one.
Really?
Yep.
What?
There were 2 big proms, and the girls that I were with broke up with me about 3 weeks before both proms, and then both wanted to go. And I said, yeah, that ain't happening.
So they broke up with you and said, still take me to the prom and rent a tux and spend money and do all those things?
Because if you think about it, 3 weeks before the prom, you've made those arrangements. Okay. You went and made your tux reservation. She's already picked out what it is she's going to wear. Okay. So they both had their dresses. And they're like, hey, would you? And I went, no. No way.
I do think it has to be pointed out. SEC Me does bring up a great point in our Twitch chat room when Trent did say, you do all these romantic things. Trent, what did you get your prom day again?
A Detroit Lions t-shirt.
Nothing says Rome. And think about how bad the Lions are.
Right. When he's asking.
When the asking.
So what's that, 6, 7 years ago? 8 years ago?
Yeah, 2017.
Okay. Boy, the Lions in 2017.
Still
I think
edging low.
that was a losing season though, wasn't it?
9-7. Missed the playoffs though.
Oh, so times were robust around Detroit then. I mean, that was on the verge of being a playoff team. They were exciting times.
Yep.
Nothing says romance kind of quite like a Lions t-shirt.
Exactly. Wow. Do you think he's the one? Well, he gave me a Lions t-shirt.
You obviously went to your father for ideas on what to do and not your mother.
Yep. Yeah, I got nothing. These are all great points. SEC me, you got me.
So Bryce Harper for the prom proposal. That's tough to beat. I got to be honest. I mean, tell me, come on now, all the other kids in class, what could you possibly have come up with that's better than that?
There is nothing. Not in that part of the world.
I mean, in Philadelphia sports right now, maybe Jason Kelsey or Jalen Hurts, but I mean, Bryce Harper in Philadelphia in 2024? They're in the middle of the best stretch that team's played since at least 1976, but they think it's the best stretch of Phillies baseball since 1895. That's how well they're playing right now.
And they weren't doing promposals in 1895, as far as I know. They may have been.
And not even in the bicentennial year of 76 either. There was nobody bringing Uncle Sam with him to the front door to propose for the prom.
Maybe Tug McGraw, but I'm not positive.
Although, my soft spot for Michael Jack Schmidt.
Right.
I mean, that's probably what I would have done if I lived in the area. Hey, Schmitty, got to ask Noreen Ziegler out to the prom. Can you help me?
Hey, Steve Carlton, can you throw a fastball at the door and knock? I want 3 fastballs to knock on the door. That's how we're doing this.
Exactly. Tell you what, I'll bring you a McCarver. You throw a slider. He catches it, turns, and it says, will you go to prom with me? Right on the ball. No?
Where's McCarver at?
I saw a story the other day about the late Tim McCarver. McCarver said, I went to the mound to talk to Gibson one time at St. Louis, and Gibson says, what the are you doing out here? Okay, the only thing you know about pitching is you can't hit it. Get behind the plate.
Our poll question today is, who would you pay? Who are you more confident in paying long-term, Tua or Trevor? Right now, basically 3 or 4 of you are saying Trevor. I said Trevor as well. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X to vote on today's poll question.
By the way, has anybody, he signed that long-term deal, 13-year deal for over $300 million. You look at a contract like that and you go, man, that's going to turn out to be a bad deal. And he has just embraced everything about Philadelphia. He's come through in the clutch, led him to 2 LCSs and a World Series. And I mean, there have been very few big money free agents in the last 10 or 15 years that have worked out as well as Bryce Harper in Philadelphia when you think about it.
And he's been banged up for part of that time too, and still has worked out.
Played through it, moved from the outfield to first base. Okay, because their first baseman tore his knee and they didn't have one. He said, I'll go to first. Whatever for the team. I mean, hell, by now he's underpaid, by the way. He's making like $25 million a year, which, with the way salaries are, is underpaid. He's like, hey, I signed my contract. I'm good. And he's asking girls out to prom on behalf of, friends and friends. What are you doing on your day off? Well, I'm busy around dinner. I got to ask
She
a girl.
screamed like it was a beetle at her door. Oh, my God. No! So you can check that out on social media if you so desire to see Bryce Harper helping a kid out.
It's a hell of a wingman.
It is.
And like top 3 athlete in the major city that you live near, helping you out on a promposal.
I'm surprised her dad didn't try to beat her to the door to get some time with Bryce Harper. In fact, I'm surprised her mom didn't either. Miller and Moulton. We will switch gears and talk the National Football League with Pat Kirwan. He is next. Thanks for listening.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I learn more about Trent every week. The T-shirt for the prom thing.
She loved it.
You know, it's actually a good test, because if she liked that, she might be the right one.
Pat, that's what I always say. I'm just gonna. What you see is what you get.
You're not going to dazzle him, are you?
No, I'm not going to go out of my way to.
That's artificial. You went right for the heart and soul. If she liked the T-shirt, she's the one. Her father probably hated you, but
I think I told you guys this story once, but so she and we're still friends. And then when I was in the hospital during the beginning of all my chemotherapy and stuff, I woke up from a nap and she was my nurse.
Yes, you did.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Thought I was dreaming.
I would hold on to her.
Yeah.
Don't tell me she married one of your friends. I don't want to hear that.
No, she didn't.
Good. Go back and get her. Tell her to come to Florida. Yep. I can't make Friday.
Okay.
I'll be traveling.
That's fine.
I gotta get down there for some games.
So you're missing game 3?
Yeah, I gotta miss one of them, and I'm better off missing that one and getting down for the 2. Actually, I made the decision as soon as they lost, and I realized, if they had won that one, I would have had to have been there for Wednesday, because it could have been over on Friday. But it is what it is.
I guess the one,
Brad, my brother, all those guys are going. So
I guess the one Everblade suffered. He got slew-footed and dirty play and broke his leg, and he's got a long recovery ahead of him.
Well, I was talking to Ryan Vesey last week, and he was talking about the GM. He was with John McCarron. John goes, that darn Greg. He goes, he went out as soon as I guess our AHL affiliate got eliminated. He signed 3 of them on the spot.
Absolutely.
Get on a plane and come down here. Man.
Irish football, if we can get a hold of them, absolutely, we would do that.
Yeah. I like your poll question. It was a long topic of conversation for us yesterday. Complicated.
What are you saying?
Well, Trevor has 2 years at 31 million. So when I read all this crap about it's a rush, we need to get it done, we're working overtime. Why?
I think because they're just trying to get them on the cheap because they know.
Well, I said if they really was smart, they would have done it before Goff. But they didn't. And now they're stuck with a new standard. And so Jimmy Miller keeps saying the same thing all the time for both guys. Need to see more. Not convinced either one of them is the right guy.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the 3rd hour of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday, and that means Pat Kirwan for his only appearance of the week. Pat of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is weekdays 3 to 7. During the season, he also does the Saturday afternoon show, and then he works the NFL Today for CBS on Sunday. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, about a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Enjoyed listening to you guys there for the last 15 minutes. I I learn something new about Trent every week, and I'll leave it at that. But he always impresses me, that kid.
Well, you chimed in during the break on our poll question, so I will start out with that. Our poll question is, who would you pay long-term, Tua or Trevor? And right now, Trevor getting 80% of the vote. Where would you be on that?
I probably would agree with that. But I did say to you guys, look, Trevor, they have him locked up for 2 years, and it's for $31 million. And so I don't understand the rush. If you were in a rush, which they claim they are, I don't know which side is in the rush. You should have done something before the Goff deal. Now that the Goff deal's done, that's the new standard. And if you try to lowball either one of these guys below the Goff deal, they're going to say no. There's more pressure on Tua to get a deal done because he's going to be in the last year of his deal. And if they really understand the franchise tag world, have they ever really, Dan Marino is the reason we invented the franchise tag. In the meetings to develop the CBA, the first one, he was the example of, if you have Dan Marino, you should not have you should never lose him. And we need to put in some kind of a system to lock it up. But since then, they've never had a guy for a franchise tag. But now they're going to be in it. And to me, franchise tag equals divorce. Once you put that on him, the clock's ticking for the end of his stay. So I would probably pay Trevor, but I don't think I have to pay him right now. You already blew your chance on a deal cheaper than Goff, and he's not going to take less than that. His agent won't let him take less than that. And I went over this once with you guys before. You got to check out who the agents are. And if they have CAA as an example, they're never taking a low ball deal. And so I think that becomes the complicated part of this.
Well, there's two parts to it. First off, Jacksonville's never had a Trevor Lawrence. The best quarterback in Jacksonville Jaguars history is Mark Brunell. They had to acquire Brunell from Green Bay, and Mark was very good. But they've never had a guy who, was potentially going to get national ads and be one of the top 5-6 quarterbacks in the league, which some people believe that's who Trevor Lawrence can be. And then you got the Dolphins, Pat, as we all know. You're very tight with Dan Marino. Well, they're 25 years removed from Dan Marino. This guy's the best guy they've had in those 25 years.
Yeah, so it's a simple question. If you really want to sign him, will you give him more than Goff? That's what we're down to here. And anything less than that is a waste of conversation, and it's a waste of negotiation. All it's going to do is make them dig their heels in. If you feel that way, if the Jags feel that way about Trevor, and if Miami feels that way, then you just have to pay him more than Goff.
Paying him more than Goff is one thing. Paying him more than Joe Burrow is another. Or does that just not factor in because that contract wasn't the most recent one signed, Pat?
Yeah, and I think the Burrow deal, to me, the standard now is Goff because there's you can make a lot of cases they haven't even done anything near what Goff has done. But
right.
You can also, but that doesn't matter because what has Justin Herbert done? Nothing, but he got a nice big fat deal. Do you guys think you need to see more from either one of them before you'd want to be comfortable doing a deal? Because there's things about Mr. Trevor Lawrence that are concerning. How are those turnovers looking? And what has he done yet? And that shine of the first pick in the draft and everything else goes away if this year they don't win the division.
Okay, let's just stay with Trevor Lawrence for a bit. So the hope is that Trevor Lawrence becomes more like Josh Allen. But let's just say Trevor Lawrence is Jay Cutler. And I don't mean in personality, but just in terms of production. Jay Cutler could make all the throws. Jay Cutler took the Bears to an NFC championship game. Jay Cutler was a good to very good NFL quarterback for a decade. Pat, it's tough to do better than Jay Cutler, though, isn't it?
Jay had other issues.
He did, but I'm just talking about that was on the field.
Yeah, but he was on the field. Wasn't he on the field for a team before that? And they just said, "Hey, we're done with him."
Yeah, Denver. No. Jay Cutler.
So do you think Miami or Jacksonville will ever get to the point of saying, "Hey, we got to get rid of this guy"?
Okay, I was hoping that you'd play along. I wasn't talking about him in personality. I was talking about him in production. Okay, that Jay Cutler was a guy that we thought had all the talent and should be an elite quarterback, but for whatever reason was just a talented, good to very good quarterback. And that's what some were wondering about Trevor. He should be elite, but maybe instead of him being a 10, he's only going to be an 8.
Agreed. And I think that's the reason when I said he has 31 million coming to him for the next 2 years, that I don't think I'd have to rush into this deal. Of course, and I'm one of them who says it, if you wait, you're only going to pay more. But you might come to the conclusion in 2 years, we don't need to do this. What if he turns into a guy that you just go, it's the same old, same old. It's the 9 wins. He looks great. We're waiting for the big arrival. We blamed the college coach who had him first, and that got fixed with Doug. Another year or two, for 2 years, if it just turns into this and Stroud and company just blow right by them, I don't know.
There it is. There it is, Pat. I mean, at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence is now going to be compared to CJ Stroud, right? I mean, they're in the same division, and that's the benchmark. It's not someone in the past. It's not someone in the future. It's the guy he's staring down in his own division.
That is true. And I think that, I can take it all the way back to when you have Kenny O'Brien, but the other team has Marino and the other one has Kelly. You just never, you don't really look at life except inside your division for like justification of money. Kenny O'Brien was a pretty good quarterback.
He was.
But he could never, ever, first off, I wasn't there and passed Marino for him. They never forgave him for that in New York. But it came down to in your division. And it came down to, and we don't know, I don't think Richardson's going to pass him, and I don't think the kid down in Tennessee is going to do it, but there is a battle going on already. And I like Trevor. If Trevor would take a deal now that was symbolically $1 less than Goff, I would do it, but I don't think he'll do it. I went through all the agents. Those guys, there's so much pressure if you have a first-round quarterback.
Let's just say they offer him the same deal. All right, 4 for what was it, 212?
212.
53 a year will guarantee basically the first 3 years. The first 3 years and an extra 10 million is what the Lions guaranteed. So in essence, they would have Trevor Lawrence signed for 6 years at $203 million. Okay, the big money doesn't kick in until 2026. Okay, and I mean, Pat, the odds are they're not going to do better than that, if you know what I mean. They historically in their franchise history, they have not had quarterback play, with the exception of a couple of Mark Brunell seasons, as good or better than him.
Yeah, all he needs to do is have a Mark Brunell season, like when they went to the championship game, and then he's in the driver's seat. But if I'm the club, I can understand, and I love when they say they're working on it. If you want to do it, you can do it in 5 minutes, but they're not up to that reality yet. So the whole time you were describing that, who was on my mind the whole time? Kyler Murray. They went and did a deal early, just like it is with Trevor. And the first thing that happened after 1 year under the new contract was they didn't have to do it. 2 is more interesting because the pressure's on now.
Well, and with Tua in that, you start talking about the division. It's why I think the New England Patriots are the most important team in the AFC East. And I say it for this reason. They're the worst team. We get it. But if they get someone in that division, that's the difference between a team making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. The difference between a team winning the division and not winning the division. As you look at the Jets and the Bills and the Dolphins, to me, if the Patriots beat someone, it really screws that team up.
It does, because then all of a sudden we start remembering the past and how great they were, and maybe May is going to do it, and all that stuff happens. But in the meantime, there's a guy up in Buffalo that has, what is he? David knows this. Is he 17-2 or something against the Dolphins?
Well, yeah, Tua hasn't beaten him.
Right. So what are you going to do with him? They can't afford to walk away from him. They're up against it here. They're already in the option year. They certainly don't want to get into the franchise business. So, and you know what I do with guys like that? And the agents, everything else, I offer them the Goff deal. And when he turns it down, I make it public. Now you got some pressure from even the media. No offense, but I did not embarrass you by offering you the Goff deal. He's gone to a Super Bowl. He just brought this team, blah, 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 to the doorsteps of another Super Bowl, and you turned down that deal? He's done more than you. And I would never bring it to outside unless I offered him that deal. And then if he wants to turn that down, then let's switch the pressure to him.
I made the argument yesterday that they could tag them once and still keep them. You make the argument the minute you tag somebody, the divorce papers have been filed.
Yeah, it's because here's how you guys know this, but this is still listeners. The second they're on the tag, they have a 1-year guarantee,
right,
not a 5-year guarantee. And now they know you're letting them have an injury risk on you. And that's why they get so mad about it, because they want a big fat signing bonus and job security for 4 or 5 years or whatever it's going to be. And that tag doesn't do it. And I keep telling people the second tag's only coming if he's healthy and plays well. So, the clubs, and when you look at the money, you might start thinking those are good things to do. Just tag them twice. But, I don't worry about no-shows. That was on my list of things today. OTAs, I laugh. Oh, they're not showing up. So what? Who cares? Tua did show up, by the way.
Yes, he did. He did for now. He says, no, I'm here for now. We'll see how things go. So Justin Jefferson hasn't shown up at Vikings OTAs. You have to admit you'd like him to show up with a rookie quarterback, and but whatever.
Hey, your OTA, this is to you, Mark. You have your poll question, which I love. It was a huge part of our conversation already. But if I had a poll question of Tom Brady has to make a choice, ownership or TV?
Now, see, you're taking us to where we were going to go on the other side of the break. Pat Kirwan talking Tom Brady's future with Miller and Moulton next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from 1/2 carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, boy.
So you're heading back north for some hockey this weekend?
I am north. I went up last week right after I was on with you guys, and I'm going to come back down there on Friday. You know, I told you I had to open up this house and all that stuff. I got a lot of junk. Yesterday I was putting docks in. The water's kind of warm. It's kind of nice, but I got shit I got to do around here. I can't. My grandkids and my wife, and they won't come up here until I get it all done.
Right.
You know, so. And I kind of like coming up to do it. It's just
probably the solitude's got to be nice for you a little bit. You don't want it all
real
the time.
Quiet, and I really enjoy doing the radio during the quiet part of the day, and I like getting up real early here. And as soon as I'm done with this, I got a couple of jobs to do, which today's outside day. The lawn has to be cut again. I got a couple of issues in the back that I have to take care of. Just the general stuff.
How long have you had that place?
25 years.
Okay.
Pete Carroll said to me when I was leaving the Jets, he goes, "Now go do something great for yourself. Whatever you really wanted to do, go do it right now." So I bought this place. And I bought the one in Florida at the same time. I took Mr. Hess's money and bought two things. So it is what it is. Oh gosh, did you by any chance, did either one of you listen to our show yesterday to hear Phil Villapiano?
No, but I've heard Phil in the past. He's a riot.
Yeah, and I've known Phil. He used to work on my camp, and I had a football camp, and he used to do crazy stuff. And then my son-in-law belonged to the same country club as him, so I'd see Phil and whack some golf balls with him. And
were you talking about Jim Otto?
Yeah, I called and said, "Can you come on and talk about Jim Otto?" I will send you via email the interview. He had two shits and a fuck, and excuse my language, in the thing, and he was crying, then laughing, then just talking about Jim, and Jim took care of him. Some of the stories he told on the radio were hysterical.
Oh, that's great. Send it to me. I'd love to listen.
Yeah, I will give you, and wait till you hear about the airplane ride to a game or something. One of the all-time Raiders greats.
By the way, I think Raiders should get Black Friday every year.
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, it's just part of their MO and who
Silver
they are.
and Black Friday. I mean, everything about it screams that should be a Raiders game. Not to mention, you've got Thursday with two NFC teams already with Detroit and Dallas. So you've got to give Friday to an AFC team if you're going to make it a permanent home.
Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, that'd be symbolically great. And you know what? Hopefully once every 4 years you could play the Steelers. Maybe they all wear black.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, the Jim Otto thing. And he talked about, he actually said, "I miss him, but it was time for him to go. He was in so much pain."
Oh, I mean, 70 surgeries.
Yeah, and look, his leg cut off. And he had an office at the Raiders still.
Yeah.
And he was there enough. Felt like he was part of it still. But Phil, oh boy. Yeah, I will absolutely. I'm going to send a note to those guys to email me that. This week was the first time that I've had a lot of Cowboy fans bailing on the team, and I felt like I never hear them talk like that.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan from NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and a dozen locations in between. Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. Amanda Christovich of Front Office Sports to talk about the business and the politics behind big-time college sports right now. It is getting very interesting, if not controversial. Amanda will join us about that in a little more than 15 minutes' time. All right, you teased it. I mean, the three of us have wondered for 6, 8, 10 months how the heck this Brady owning the Raiders thing is going to work with him broadcasting for Fox. I mean, we've all said we never thought the NFL would go for this.
Well, it sounds like the owners, which is understandable, they should have been screaming from the rooftop when all this potentially was going to happen. My question really is, what would you do if you were Brady? If they tell you can't do both, which one should he do? Own or get on and make more money than anyone's ever made calling games?
Well, obviously, owning an NFL franchise, you make money whenever it sells or whatever the case may be, but what does he want to do as an owner? If he wants to be just a minority owner with a piece of the team, then broadcast the games. If he's just going to be 1%, but are his aspirations to be a bigger owner at one point, to actually be the main owner of a team? If that's the case, then get into ownership.
Yeah, and I think, first off, I don't think he could sit by and be quiet. I think the guy has real visions for how to run a football team and has run one. When he's around, and Tampa's a good example, he just took charge of the place. So I do think, and I think Davis would love to have him involved. When you're a part owner and you're not a voting member and all that business, there's no doubt that Tom could influence whatever Davis votes were. He could be evaluating coaches, GMs. I don't think he could help himself. And like the owner in Cleveland, the owner in Carolina, those guys were all part owners. So I do think he puts him on a fast track to something else. I don't think he has the money to do something else.
Let's just do the quick math. Let's just say if the Raiders went on the market today, $4 billion? $4 billion? Okay. So to own 1% of that, he needs to come up with $40 million off his hip. So, because the NFL has also said, I mean, the word was that Davis was trying to give Brady a deal. And the NFL has said, no, nobody gets a deal. Everybody pays the full freight. So here's how much money do we think Brady's coming off his hip for here? You think he's coming off for more than 2% of the team? I don't.
I don't either. It's an opportunity that they don't come along very often. The owners will regulate because they don't want anything going down in value because someone else, look, this leads me right up to Wall Street, which is an extension of this. These guys need Wall Street now. Why? Because you think about the 5 or 6 teams that are going to build stadiums or renovate stadiums, and the sentiment publicly that Kansas City, they're not going to have a tax for you. So it's getting to the point where owners are going to have to deliver either all of it or most of it. And that's why Wall Street comes in for their private equities positions in these things. And Buffalo's the first example. When I hear these owners go, we'll be responsible for the over, because you said it last week, David, these never come in at cost. It comes in at, $100 million more. So that's why I think the equity position stuff is going to be critical, especially for the Bears, all these teams that are going to be building stadiums and knowing they're not getting the public support they would like to have. I think. So
are you saying, Pat, they're going to have to bring on other ownership groups, namely Wall Street, as far as being part of the ownership groups in order to finance the stadiums that they want?
I think that's one of the big motivations to why they're going to let it happen. I think it might even happen in the next 10 days, the approval. But I can tell you, because I'm pretty related to the Wall Street world, they've been in position to do this now for over a year. And they've all got their money ready to roll, and they're politically aligning with the right people to do it. They'll never be, you know how the NFL is going to do it. They're going to do just what they do with minority owners now. You can't vote, you can't be blah, 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 all that stuff. But these owners need the cash, and Buffalo's the first example. But Kansas City is probably realizing now they need it too. So here comes maybe, well, as my Wall Street friends would say, we don't have a lot of products that make 35% a year, and the NFL does. So you get in and you can get out when you want with all that business.
Now,
but
we don't think Brady's ownership stake's going to get approved, do we?
I don't think so.
No.
Now, and I don't think it's going to be knocked down because of the low ball number that Davis is willing to take to give him 1%. But I do think that the conflict is going to rear its ugly head, and that's why I asked you, if you were Brady, which one would you do? I personally would get into the ownership thing if I was him, because
I would too. I think this broadcasting thing is a risk. He's never done anything in his life that he hasn't been great at. He has a real chance to not be great at this. I wouldn't take the chance. I know one pays him $37 million a year and the other is going to cost him tens of millions of dollars. But if I was Brady, for what it's worth, I would do the ownership thing and I would let Greg Olson call the games.
Agree with that totally. And it's interesting because not everyone sees it that way. Because the money is extraordinary from television that's being offered to him that he's got waiting for him. But I think it's going to come down to sooner or later he's going to have to choose.
So one roast equals 1%. He may have to do a couple more roasts to get the rest of the money for Mr. Davis. I guess that's the way.
You should run that roast because we need new material. They hit a lot of subjects. I don't know what's left.
Woo!
How about when he said, "I don't think I'd ever do one again"?
Yeah, no kidding.
You should have never done that one, you knucklehead.
I think he was 20 minutes into that when he realized, I ain't doing one of these.
Yeah.
Again, that's for sure. So, Pat Kirwan, anything we're missing here? Because, we may not talk for a week or so. Is there anything, before the holiday that we're missing out on?
I think you're all over the quarterback subjects. I mean, we only talked about two of them. There's other guys that have to get done. I do think the stadium stuff is interesting to me. Anyway, it's business, so it's kind of boring to the average fan because, it does mean something to the fans eventually.
Do you think it matters? You talked to Jim. He played for the Bears. He's tight with the Bears. He works their games. All right. Does it matter if the Bears move to the suburbs? You remember, the Giants moved from Yankee Stadium to Jersey. We all know 50 years ago, life continued okay. Can the Bears move to the suburbs and will life still be okay?
Yes. And the Jets moved too, right? We were in Queens and moved in. What happened was the ticket base changed. The Long Island, which was like 40% of the tickets, that went away and that shrunk. The fans stayed there, but they just couldn't handle the drive. But going out where they're going, Jim doesn't think it's going to be a problem. They're not going though, right? They're going to redo the stadium or tear down that one.
Well, the the governor has said it's dead on arrival. We're not interested in this at all.
Well, again, hello, Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, and when has the governor never been able to control what goes on in Chicago? They'll outrank him at some point.
He might have created his own gangplank. The Bears are pretty important to the Chicago public.
Yeah, imagine if they could actually start winning. My goodness.
Well, everyone, that is a storyline for you. Here's the pressure point on that one.
30 seconds.
They surrounded the young quarterback with a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Extraordinary receivers, an improved line, a defense. And I said yesterday, that shifts the pressure to the kid. No one's going to say, hey, we got to get better players. There are better players. He's got to deliver now in that city.
As a rookie, all kinds of pressure on that young man.
Yep.
He's Pat Kirwan. No pressure when he comes on Miller and Moulton Tuesdays and Fridays throughout much of the year, and he does so courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, and a dozen locations in between Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. Pat, be well, safe travels, happy holiday weekend. We'll talk next week on Miller and Moulton.
Take care, folks.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh.
So I don't know why it took me this long to realize this, but the Lions rematch all their playoff opponents in the regular season.
Mm-hmm. Don't isn't the Rams opening day?
Yeah, and then Bucks week 2.
Right.
And then Niners week 14, I think.
Later than that, it's December 30th, I think. We've got it. I think it's week 16 or 17 technically, because I think it's second to last week of the season.
Yeah, 17. You're right.
It's our last Monday night game of the regular season. Kind of relief, and theoretically in a new stadium, the Bears all have more seats. They have the smallest or second smallest stadium by seating in the league. Them and the Bucks, I think, are the two smallest stadiums.
Who's that in the Bucks?
The Bears. The Bears seating is not a lot. It's like mid-60s.
Adam, the Bears have fans everywhere.
Yeah.
That is a strong fan base nationwide.
They are ratings gold. And they watch, even if the team's 5-9.
Well, they've had no choice. Their team's always 5-9.
No.
And yet, they've made multiple NFC championship games before the Cowboys.
'06 with Lovey, which they won. 2010 with Lovey, which they lost.
Thank God they got rid of him, though.
Oh, yeah, well, 10-6 was unacceptable. We have Amanda coming up.
Oh, shoot. We're coming back. I'll call her ASAP. My bad.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 minutes till the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question. Oh, we think it's got a little meat on the bone. You guys like to talk quarterbacks. You like football. Who you going to spend the money on? So we give you Trevor or Tua. If you can only spend it on one, which one you spending it on going forward? And right now, a healthy majority of you go, yeah, I'm going Trevor Lawrence. So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X, vote accordingly. She's been kind enough to join us a handful of times in the last 6 months. She's Amanda Christovich. She covers the business of sports and college sports for Front Office Sports. You can follow Amanda on X at the letter A, Christovich, and then throw an extra H on the end, A, Christovich, H. Amanda, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
I'm doing well. Never a slow news day. How are you?
Yeah. So we didn't think we'd be having you on this quickly when we could a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the state of college sports and the money and where it was going, but a lot has seemingly happened in the last 2 weeks. You have detailed it very well once again, late last week and early this week for Front Office Sports. It's a two-pronged attack here. One is the business and one is the politics. Let's talk the business. What's going on with this, trying to settle this suit and the multi-billions that they're trying to raise? What's going on?
Yeah. So this lawsuit, first of all, has nothing to do with athletes being employees, right? It has nothing to do with the employment question. What it is saying that athletes should be granted revenue share, broadcast revenue share, right? And they're calling it NIL, and I won't get into that. But this week, the power conferences, including the former makeup of the Pac-12 and the NCAA, are all individually voting to ratify a settlement in the case that would include $2.7 billion in back pay to athletes who couldn't participate in NIL before 2021. And then also creating a future revenue share agreement. And the reason, or a revenue share agreement for the power conference schools, right? And that could be like up to $20 million a school per year. And that's like, for the future, forever and always. The reason that they're finally agreeing to this is because if they don't, this lawsuit could cost them more than $5 billion in damages. So they are hastily scrambling to settle this lawsuit so that they don't go bankrupt, essentially, is the point of this.
If they settle, Amanda, is it the NCAA that's paying? Is it the conferences that paying? Is it the schools that paying? If this is settled, who pays the athletes?
Okay, so for the back pay, it's a combination of the power conferences. I believe the current reports have said like 40% of those damages. And then the NCAA picks up the tab for the other 60% of the back pay. So that's like, the damages. And then the power conference, or the power conference schools each have to come up with the annual revenue share for the athletes. But going back to the damages, it's weird because there's been uproar with the other Division I conferences who are not parties to this lawsuit, because the way that the NCAA is going to pay their version of the damages is by deducting revenue distributions that they normally give to the entirety of Division I. So I spoke with a source last night who, obviously was not happy about it. And who was saying that, essentially the NCAA and power conferences have negotiated this thing without any sort of input from the rest of Division I, even though they'll technically be paying, right, like through the NCAA's damages. So really, it's the entirety of Division One is going to have to chip in to a certain extent.
Amanda Christovich, Front Office Sports, joining us here on Miller and Moulton. The Big East reportedly is already on record as saying hell no. Do they have any recourse, though? I mean, can the group of five and even smaller conferences, I mean, Amanda, I'm curious, does this go all the way down to the, Colonials and the A-Suns of the world where their payouts even going to be affected and they don't even play football? But, I mean, do these other conferences have any recourse here?
No, they don't. That letter that was reported yesterday that the commissioner of the Big East wrote, and I believe 21 other non-FBS conference commissioners signed, suggested an alternate model that would have been more fair about how the NCAA could pay the damages, and then basically said, hey, at the very least, maybe don't include in your settlement authorization how the NCAA is going to pay the damages. Can we figure that out later as a membership? But all they can do is ask. As you said, they have no recourse. They're not parties. They're not defendants. And the only way they could have had a say is if the NCAA brought them in, which that source I spoke with yesterday told me they didn't. So, no, they have no power. They have no recourse. It's going to be up to the NCAA Board of Governors, which technically, yes, is made up of, different schools, but ultimately they're going to do what's best for the entity of the NCAA, right? So the rest of Division One is just kind of out of luck.
All right. The other side of what your article detailed very well, I might add, was the lobbying efforts that are going on by the NCAA. And this, to me, if I'm a college athlete, is a bigger concern than the back pay and how that's done, because they essentially are trying to rechange the rules again and call them amateurs. I mean, they are fighting, the athletes fighting against the most powerful lobbyist groups in Washington, D.C. right now, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, the NCAA has been working for a decade with, a lobbying firm that, they're the top grossing in D.C. They're one of their most notorious clients is Purdue Pharma, right? So that gives you an idea of what type of services and crisis management, right? Their lobbyists are using. Essentially, what they're trying to do is halt the athletes' rights movement, and they're trying because that Congress is really their last hope, because Congress is the only entity that can stop, the labor cases, right? Because this House settlement that we were just talking about, that's just about revenue sharing. That is nothing. It's an antitrust case. It's not a labor case. There's no bearing on the question of whether athletes are employees or have the right to collectively bargain. So what the NCAA is trying to do is get Congress to give them protection from any future lawsuits, right, that are similar to this House case, but also to codify the concept of amateurism. And that would halt the athletes' rights movement, right? No formal recourse to get collective bargaining rights, no formal recourse to become employees if the athletes want. And the protection from lawsuits also would give the NCAA the power to, impose pretty much many types of restrictions on even NIL, right? So that's rolling back rights that the players have already gained. I'm not saying they're going to take NIL away 100%. I don't think, no one in Congress would allow that. But, this sort of unrestricted world where players can make as much money as they want on NIL, could go away. And, they haven't been quiet about it. It's not like it's a huge secret, right? Charlie Baker is pretty clear, they're all talking about, we're going to Congress, we're asking for this, and that. But I feel like people don't understand how transformative what they're asking for would be to ending the athletes' rights movement. And the fact that there's really no time limit on it, right? I mean, the labor cases are going to keep going for a few years, so the lobbyists just have to sit back and wait to see, if Republicans, take control of the entire Congress and potentially the White House, because Republicans are more likely to pass legislation that is amenable to the NCAA in this current sort of state, right? So they got time. They could do it next year. They don't have to do it in 3 months. And if you're an athlete and you want more rights, you should be concerned.
Is there any indication at all that this would pass? I mean, even the margin is so small, particularly in the House. This seems a difficult measure to get Democrats behind. All right. This seems to be more of a worker. The Democrats are more pro-union. There would seem to be very few votes from that side of the aisle that would be against the athletes, the majority of whom, by the way, are kids of color. I mean, Amanda, if I had to bet, that this would be a very tough piece of legislation to get passed, wouldn't it?
Yeah, which is why there's this $15 million lobby. Absolutely difficult. However, it was pointed out to me by one of the experts I spoke with, who was like, it's not just the NCAA asking for what they want. It's the way that they've been so successful at convincing everybody of the doomsday scenario if athletes do become employees, about the death of women's sports and the death of Olympic sports and the end of everything that we love about college athletics. And basically, he was like, if you convince a critical mass of Democrats, right, particularly sort of centrist Democrats, that would happen if athletes became employees, you have a shot at passing something in Congress. And again, if we have to look at the makeup of the next Congress in January and reevaluate, because there might even be fewer Democrats that you have to convince.
True.
And then the other thing is that the athletes have they have no say. They have no formal organization in Congress. So these lobbyists are basically manipulating the view of what the athletes think and what the athletes want. And that's powerful too. And I've seen and heard a lot of really liberal Democrats, like Senator Richard Blumenthal, for example, who a few years ago were touting an athlete bill of rights, who are now saying, oh, it doesn't seem like they should be employees. So maybe we should figure out a way for them to have more of a say, but not be employees. I mean, look, regardless of whether he's correct or not, that's a view that is way further to the right than it was a few years ago. So I think that's an example of how powerful this campaign has been behind the scenes to sort of pushing public opinion, right? Yeah, it's going to be really hard in an election year to pass literally anything, but I'm talking about the future, right? What about after the election year when there isn't that consternation? What then?
Amanda Christovich, Front Office Sports, covering the business and college sports. And needless to say, the two are intertwined. She's now having to cover the politics of it as well. Follow Amanda on X at A Christovich and an extra H on the end, A Christovich H. Amanda, promise we won't bother you the rest of the month. Try to have a good holiday.
What holiday? You could bother me anytime. It's all good.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you for having me.
Amanda Christovich trying to explain, and we know that her connection wasn't the best there, but trying to explain. We think it's the biggest thing going on in sports.
Because the other part of what they're trying to do through Congress is basically creating a law that can't be challenged.
Correct. Yeah, antitrust status. So basically, once whatever they pass, that's it, man. That's the future of college athletics.
And the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12 are spending millions, tens of millions of dollars for lobbyists, along with the NCAA.
And the athletes have who lobbying Congress on their behalf?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, but Mark, what have we found over the years, though? What have we found? The public's on the side of who in this argument?
The schools.
Yeah, they are.
Damn right. They don't want this change. They want it to be the way that it always was. Take advantage of these athletes for 4 years. As long as they're wearing my team's colors and we win 11 games, I don't give a damn how we get there.
It does go to show you that these politicians don't understand sports at all. Does anybody think there's not enough money out there to do this? It's going to go bankrupt.
The point that she makes is that they're going after, to your point and to hers, they're going after these lawmakers with disingenuous expectations of what the athletes wants, and there's no one there to back up the athlete to say, wait a minute, that's not what we're trying to do.
There's not a single congressman or congresswoman that's like, listen, can I explain to you how big-time college sports works? Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, lovely. A group text to 11 people at 9 o'clock. That's wonderful. My phone won't be buzzing for the next 5 minutes because people are.
My dad's side of the family has a group text that's just nonstop. You guys would hate it.
I'd opt out.
Yeah.
So look, I know a lot of you. I don't want you to get mad at me because it's a political show and it leans left. But John Oliver show, he did a whole thing on corn. You would have been fascinated by it, David, on the subsidies and all that. You actually would have enjoyed it. But there's a provision of basically you can pay unlimited people the subsidies if they're due farm. They can just take a phone call. And he did a thing on cousins in the middle of it because basically you can be a cousin. And he starts going on cousin. And that's all I'm thinking of with this family group chat. Your cousins, you get a Christmas card from them, you put it on the refrigerator, and then once you quit feeling guilty, you throw it away. Doesn't give them the right to $125,000 a year. This would have been big when you were doing your political show in North Dakota, David.
You did a political show?
I filled in news and the late Ed Schultz had news and views on KFGO, and he took a liking to me. He was a sports guy turned news sports guy. I was a sports guy, and he needed to fill in, and so I did a few shows, and just asked the question: "You guys are anti-government, right? Then how come North Dakota is the #1 per capita in boop 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 boop?" I go, this state lives on government subsidy. I go, that's just reality. And at the time, they had a Democratic governor, Democratic senators, Democratic congressmen. Now, they were conservative, but they were all Democrats. And the listenership was not on KFGO. And I'm like, well, okay, well, then we're going to do away with all the farm subsidies. That's what you say you want. Farmers, what happens if the subsidies go away? I gave the phone number out. Smoke them if you got them after that.
But it was a, I know you don't have HBO anymore, but it was a good story.
You probably have HBO. You just don't know it.
Actually, I don't. We went through that last night. Don't laugh. Went through a lot of that last night. Spent a lot of time on it.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour for the 239 and the 904. Thanks so much for being with us. Hour 4 of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. If you're just joining us, you missed David Samson, Pat Kirwan, Amanda Christovich, talking baseball, football, the business of college sports. Go to millerandmoulton.com, download anything that you missed. Trent does a good job of getting stuff posted in a timely fashion. Our poll question, well, we told you yesterday what it was going to be. All right. Can only pay one of them. You're all in on one of these two. Trevor or Tua? Who is it?
83% Trevor.
It's 5 out of 6, baby. I'm curious. The lefty that no one likes. Did anybody throw for more yards last year than him?
I don't believe so.
His year last year and Trevor's year last year. Who had the better year?
It's not close. Tua had the better year.
Well,
Trevor had a bad year last year. There's no
yes.
two ways about it. He was injured. He threw a lot of picks. He did not play well when he was there. He fought through a lot of injuries. So you can chalk a lot of it up to all of that. But he certainly, the better quarterback was easily Tua last year.
The one team won 11 games. The other team won 9. So, but it is interesting. People, and what's so fascinating is, what was it, 5 years ago? You were tanking, 2019, you were tanking for Tua. You weren't tanking for Joe Burrow. You were tanking for Tua. You weren't tanking for Justin Herbert. You were tanking for Tua, baby. That's who we were tanking for.
How much of this do you think is people really, really like Tyreek Hill? Because he had as good of a receiver season as you can have. He was in the MVP conversation.
Well, we know women like Tyreek Hill. Does he have 4 kids this year already?
He's got 10 kids with 5 women.
Yeah, but he's got 4 this year.
Didn't he get married on the bye week?
Yes.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, and then she burned his house down. I mean, he's a reality show. In and of himself, he is a reality show. And I don't think anybody thinks it's going to end well either. But
I don't mean to laugh, but yeah, he goes to practice, and all of a sudden he's getting a phone call that his house is on fire.
Right. Well, those of us of a certain age made us think back to the mid to late 90s in Atlanta. Although that one was intentional. This one was an accident. At least
There's
that's what we're
nothing
told.
better than, what did they call it? Was the behind the music?
Yep.
And they did a behind the music on TLC, and the other two telling the conversation of Left Eye there that burnt the house
Lisa
down.
Lopes.
Lisa Lopes. And the other one said, turn on Channel 5. And that's, if you lived in Atlanta at that time, WAGA is Channel 5. And it's like, yeah, that's where you win.
She done burned down his house.
Burned his house down.
Andre Bad Moon Horizon. Oh, sorry, buddy. She done burned down your house. Pretty nice house, too. All right. Back to the conversation at hand. Tua or Trevor? That's the poll question. Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. And for the record, we both voted for Trevor. We did. Of the two, if we're choosing, if we only have, $250 million to throw around at one of the two, we are going to throw it at Trevor. But we are doing it with Tua coming off his best year. Everything that people said, he's got to stay healthy.
Stayed healthy.
Took every snap. All right. Lead him to the playoffs. Let him to the playoffs again. Okay. Yeah. 11 wins, by the way, this time. Meanwhile, heading into last year, if you had to bet on a Florida NFL team to make the playoffs, wouldn't you bet on Jacksonville?
Absolutely. Hell, we were talking about the Jags being a 1 seed.
And 11 games into the season, they were tied for the 1 seed at 8-3 with 3 other teams. And then it all went south. So
the turning point was when they played Trevor in Cleveland. Bad weather against Myles Garrett, banged up O-line, and they threw him out there.
Well, in the week before, I believe it was the Monday nighter against Cincinnati, and Burrow's not playing. Zay Jones gets hurt. It dramatically affected them, and they let that game get away late. And that started the downslide. Listen, we look at the Dolphins. What cost the Dolphins everything last year? Losing a home game to the Titans. We've said it for years. When the schedule maker gets you a win, you got to get it. When they give you a win, you got to take it. And Jacksonville and Miami both screwed up their seasons last year when the schedule maker gave them wins on Monday nights at home, and they blew them. And it went south from there. What is interesting, though, Mark, I think with people about Tua also, they don't think he and they can beat good teams. They still
Many
think
people
Trevor,
don't think Tua's winning because of Tua, David. That's the biggest thing is Tua's winning because of his supporting cast. Tua's not winning because he's an excellent quarterback. That's what the overwhelming majority that I hear from tell me. They don't think he's the guy.
So basically plug anybody else in that offense
Right.
and they would add 4,600 yards and all that. Yeah, maybe they're right. If that's the case, then if you're the Dolphins, you ain't paying them.
Well, and shouldn't say that's the way the Dolphins are acting, but the Dolphins going with all these incentives are trying to say it's not all you, Tua.
And I do think that holds some weight. I do. I don't think you could drop anyone in there and they'd have 4,700 yards. But Mike McDaniel gets a lot of credit for his offense, and he's playing with Tyreek Hill and Raheem Mostert, and
and Waddle.
And by the way,
some
I
weight.
think I'm with the Big O. Okay, I think Mike McDaniel should be getting a lot of heat. I really do. I mean, with all the toys that you have, with a running game that's as good as it's been, with 2 elite wide receivers and all those yards that you're producing on offense, how come you can't beat a good team? The only one they beat last year was Dallas. I mean,
And the jury's still out on whether Dallas is a good team.
But if you go 12-5, I think we have to put you in that category. I know. You said it tongue in cheek.
Having a little fun.
No. But there are a lot of people that think, they're paper mache also. That those were they were mirror images of each other. The Dolphins went 11-6. Why? They played in the AFC. Cowboys went 12-5. Why? They played in the NFC. You switch them, they probably each win 1 or 2 more games, or Dallas would have lost more. They were mirror images of each other. They could not beat good teams. When they played each other, the Dolphins barely won. But don't you think 2 is the AFC Dak?
Yes. That's a great comparison. Not necessarily in style of play, but just
right.
the context.
Yeah, people just don't think that they're a winner. Even though Dak's won a lot of games, but not in January. And people are holding it against him. They think he's the reason that team's not winning in January.
Yes, that is 100% true, David.
Even though I believe Green Bay has just scored again against the Cowboys.
Well, and I mean, Cowboys fans are all in on that narrative.
Well, I thought Pat Kirwan made an interesting comment, and I don't know if he said it on air or if it was during a commercial break, but we're all communicating through Twitch so we could see and hear each other. But Pat said this is the week that the Cowboys fan on his show is late last week and this week is really abandoning the Cowboys. And Mark, I could be reaching here, but I think it has to do with the Mavericks and the Stars.
I think you're reaching. I think they're just fed up.
Well, why this week? Why weren't they fed up in
schedule just
February,
came out. They started
March?
Looking through the schedule, started thinking their team's going to lose more than they're going to win.
And
we've had the draft, we've had the schedule, we've had free agency. They've had time to sit back, look at the whole thing, and say, "All right, where are we as an organization?" And asking the question that you ask all the time, David: what do we ask of teams this time of year? Is your team the same, better, or worse than they were at the end of the season? And how do you look at the Cowboys and say they're better than they were at the end of the season?
I don't know how you look at them and say they're the same. Forget better. I don't know what would drive me nuts as a Cowboys fan is, wait, we're 12-5. We need to get better. I don't even know if we're the same. We could have made the case. We just stunk it up. We had a bad day against Green Bay. Our defense, which had been terrific for 3 years, fell apart. That stuff happens. Okay, let's throw the same team out there. We've been talking hockey and teams all the time here. The great debate that's going on in 3 or 4, places in the NHL is, can I just take the same team and throw it back out there with like one? I'll get a little better goalie here. Give me one winger for the second line here and throw the same team out there in hockey and take our chances.
I agree with you. They're the same at best, but they're getting Diggs back. That's probably the only saving grace, right? That's the only way you could spin it into.
He's a feast or famine corner, though. He'll come up with his 8 picks and he'll score once or twice. But you know what? You can double move him, and he gambles a lot. You got to be of a certain age. When I look at Diggs, I see Everson Walls, who I think, by the way, should be in the Hall of Fame. But you could attack Everson Walls. He was a feast or famine corner.
But they've got no running game. The receiving core didn't get better.
No, I'm with you. I think they.
I don't think their line's just older.
So you don't think
by the way, that's where the Cowboys and the Dolphins did nothing to address their line.
Not really.
I understand they weren't going to be able to afford to pay Hunt the money that Carolina gave them, that they were going to lose him because that was ridiculous money for a guard. But did their line say? Just with the Dolphins line, same, better, or worse?
Drafted the project tackle. They may be better down the road, but I don't see how they're better in 2024. So you don't think it has anything to do with the Cowboys fan, who's also a Dallas sports fan, who the reality has hit them in the last 48 to 72 hours. Blankety blank. The baseball team just won a World Series. The hockey and basketball teams are in the conference finals. I'm fed up. 1995 is the last time we went to a conference championship game. I'm fed up.
Maybe it has. To me, there's Cowboys fan and then there's Dallas sports fan. And
I was going to ask, what percentage of Cowboys fans are?
Because the Cowboys are a national brand. So I don't just look at Dallas Cowboy fan as someone that lives in Dallas.
No, that's a good point.
I see Cowboy stickers every day driving in Southwest Florida. Every day.
They're self-proclaimed America's team.
How about them Cowboys? How about them? 1995.
Look at the smile. You know what we're finding out? It's not just the Packers and Bears that he has angst for. Apparently, you hate the Cowboys too. Miller and Moulton. It's the Diamond District Bonus Hour. Thanks for listening. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Has Jacksonville been in touch with you today at all?
No, but late yesterday, the indication is they just want to take the video away. Okay, and that's what I'm just trying to firm down. Okay, are you just wanting this to be a blank screen, or are you also wanting to eliminate our audio? You know, last night the indication was they were just wanting to get rid of the, this triple box right now. I think maybe what we're doing right now is enough, just alerting people that this is a commercial.
Yeah, hopefully it's something they can handle on their end, because
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to explain to them. Like, for us to do it on our end, we have to eliminate the ability to communicate, which we're not interested in doing.
and eliminate Twitch, which is how a lot of people enjoy taking in the. Not eliminate Twitch, but eliminate the breaks.
Oh, eliminate the purpose of Twitch, though.
Right.
So that we could see each other, communicate, and then also the chat room. Right. So we'll see. Here's my question. If they produced a graphic, is there any way for us to put it on the screen without doing away with the triple box or what have you?
Not a full screen. If we do anything full screen without anyone on there, it goes blank for us.
Not necessarily.
So we can't superimpose a graphic?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I when I used to do this with two monitors, David, I could, because I could put a PowerPoint display, but with the way this is set up, with where we are, with what I have on this computer, probably not. If I was doing it out of my house, I probably could.
Because
if you recall, I used to have those full screen graphics.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
that I would use.
Yeah,
a different layout.
You used to watch them during the break, even. Yeah, we have that Cowboys-Texans game, by the way. When I say we, I mean Monday Night Football.
You see Logic Man's comment?
Well,
Yeah.
and I got to figure out, they're going to have to give me a login or we're completely toast here. If you know what I mean.
Well, yeah.
Every time I ask them about it, they just give the same.
Well, but they have no choice now. We can't do the show.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
what I'm afraid of.
One of you two just has to do it, because when I do it, they just.
Well, I'm going to start with Shane.
They're like, they're not employees of Beasley. And I'm like, well, I'm not either. And they go, well, they make a dummy invoice for you every month that has nothing on it. I'm like, well, do that for them.
Yeah, but
No, they have to hire somebody. What they say. I don't see how it's any different. How they couldn't
It's
just.
because we were former employees. I'm telling you, that's the reason.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big bone of contention.
Well, then we're going to have to move the show to. You look right at them and say, well, then we'll move the show to the other guys.
Well, I don't want to act that way.
I know you don't.
You're going to be a little more gentle in the face.
You're better. You're better. Yeah, exactly. You're better.
I don't know if I'm more gentle in the face. I'm just trying to be a little more logical.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts, a pick or two, a boost, a sprinkle. It's all coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. So the conference finals are set. Baseball season approaching the 1/3 pole. I mean, Memorial Day weekend's coming up this weekend, man.
Right?
Got the Indy 500 coming up in less than a week.
Woohoo!
Come on now. It's one of our big American sporting events.
I shouldn't do that. I have a guy I've become pretty good friends with that I play golf with that was texting me during the Derby because he knows I love the Derby. And he goes, you got to figure out a way to do the Derby and Indy in the same year. He goes, I got Indy covered because he lives in Indianapolis. He's actually a member at the Brickyard golf course there.
Oh. Listen, you know me, my dream when we put this third act together, we were going to get a
yeah.
Winnebago or something. We were going to be able to travel in it. We're going to go around the state and around the country at sporting events, have the Miller and Moulton thing on the side. I mean, we're on in Jacksonville now. I watch Brent Martineau, of Action News Jax. He's everywhere. All over the country. You name it, NFL meetings, draft, you name it. Then he's at high school stuff. I mean, come on, we can do this.
Sure we can. You're right.
Well, that's right. We need a budget. Yeah. Well, they invest in sports action news, Jax. It's an amazing phenomenon. One of these
How much
days-
will Jacksonville invest in Trevor Lawrence, though? That's the real question.
Please, they're spending $1.4 billion on a stadium. Trevor Lawrence seems like child's play. I will say, things can change quickly in terms of the world of public opinion. But you know how apparently in Chicago, the political forces are like, hell no, we ain't giving you the money for that stadium, Bears.
So what you're saying is if Caleb Williams can play a little bit, sentiment for that stadium could turn around in a hurry?
Well, I think so. I do. I mean, if he goes in there like C.J. Stroud, okay, the Bears are going to get whatever they want. But I can tell you public sentiment, it's $1.4 billion. Nearly $800 million of it is coming from the taxpayers. And from what I can gather, taxpayers are fine with it.
Which is ironic because they're not in Kansas City.
Right.
So, I mean, if you just chalk this up to popularity of the team and what they've accomplished, I mean, no one's accomplishing more than the Kansas City Chiefs. And they can't get a new stadium deal.
The sentiment I get is, and granted, Mark, where I'm talking to people. I'm talking to people where you eat.
Right. Fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
Not where you eat.
Convenience stores, fast food restaurants. Okay.
Right.
Walking in and out of Little Caesars and Jersey Mike's and the bank. Okay. I mean, I'm talking to the people here. I'm not like stuck in a Washington, D.C., Tallahassee cocoon. I'm out with the peeps, running errands, getting stuff done. And I'm
just looking at my keyboard because one of these days you're going to say peeps when you're next to me, and I'm going to break it over your head. Sorry, go on.
I'll be there next week, Be there Thursday, Friday next week. So I just get the sense that folks in Jacksonville, the majority of them, are like, yeah, we understand it's a lot of money, but A, it's kind of the cost of doing business, and B, what the hell would we be without the Jags? And not that Jacksonville thinks of themselves as Green Bay, okay, because actually it's a tremendously growing city and area. They got, a lot of medical money. I mean, Jacksonville's got a lot going for it right now. But they think, come on now, how many major pro sports teams do we have again? Yeah, that's right. We got one. And to me, it's interesting that they don't feel that way in Kansas City. I know they got two, but come on now. The one has just won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years and gone to 4.
Well, maybe that's enough. Seriously, maybe they're satisfied. They're good for another 10 years, 20 years.
But what I would do if I was the Chiefs is I would get real serious with Kansas. Like, I don't know if it matters. Like, to me, it didn't matter when the Giants and Jets moved out of New York and went to Jersey. Now, granted, I lived in Jersey. They moved closer to me, but you couldn't get tickets. Okay. And we didn't have the money to get them anyway. But it didn't matter to me. It didn't, New York, New Jersey were connected. People live in the city and they come to Jersey. People in Jersey go to the city. It's a 40-minute train ride from the city. To me, it wasn't a big deal.
David, it's interesting because Detroit had the same thing happen. The Lions moved to Pontiac. The Pistons moved to Auburn Hills. And for me, who lived 100 miles north of Detroit, it was great. It's a lot easier to get to games.
Right.
Didn't have to drive all the way downtown. But it wasn't like going to a Tiger or a Red Wing game. And now that all 4 teams are downtown, I love it. That's the way it should be. So I understand where you're coming from, but I think you can at least see where two sides could completely agree to disagree on that concept.
Well, I do. And in Kansas City, what's interesting is that the major baseball proposal is to actually put it in a section of downtown. Okay. Currently, the Chiefs and Royal stadiums are out 20 minutes away.
Right.
So to me, then, does it really matter if they're outside the city in Kansas City or if they're outside the city in Kansas? I mean, you're 3 minutes from Kansas if you're at Chiefs Stadium, 5 tops. I mean, does it really matter? They go 8 more minutes west. Like to me, granted, I'm not from Chicago, but to me, I don't care if the Bears move from downtown to, a half an hour away. They're staying, right? Okay. That's all I care about. I care about if they're going to win.
Well, there you go. That's all the fan really cares about. The rest of it's just stuff.
Well, what's interesting is, by the way, Jacksonville's seemingly, they're having meetings in and around town, 2 hours, 6 to 8 at night. Come air your grievances and what have you. So far, there's like one politician on city council that's got some major issues. All the other politicians are apparently like, yeah, tell us when the vote is. And so far, the news, they're covering all these 6 to 8 p.m. things. People aren't screaming and yelling. They're not showing up with signs. They just have some questions. So, I mean, barring the unforeseen, talk about the communities not willing to pay. Well, I don't know. Jacksonville and Duval County is about to write a check for about $850 million. Maybe a little less than that.
And I think there's always the outside fear in a city like Jacksonville they could lose the team. So I think they're a little more gung-ho there than maybe they would be in other markets, because the threat has always been there of the Jags moving. And this assures them with the 30-year lease that they've got a team for the next couple generations.
Well, and quite frankly, the stadium will be Super Bowl worthy. Now, they've acknowledged the city doesn't have enough hotel rooms. And the NFL is not going to do that again. That was a favor to the Weaver family who brought the team to Jacksonville. They gave them a Super Bowl. Yeah, they ain't doing ships in the Atlantic where people are going to be staying on cruise liners. And even though they've built a lot more hotels in the last 20 years, they don't have enough occupancy to host a Super Bowl by NFL standards. But the stadium apparently will be considered Super Bowl worthy. All right.
They barely have enough hotel rooms for Florida-Georgia weekend.
But see, that would be my answer. I'm like, hold on a second. They pull off Florida-Georgia. That's more people than a Jags game.
Right, but it's not more people than a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know. More
because there are a lot of folks that just go to the town and don't go to the game.
I know. I hear you. I'm not disputing it.
Just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We know where you've put a couple Super Bowls in the past and why you've done it. I mean, really? Now we're going to have standards? Come on now. It's a Super Bowl, okay? You put it in a parking lot.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Express Memorial Day sale is here. Don't miss our biggest event of the year with store-wide savings up to $1,000 on mattress brands like Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest, and more. Save up to $500 on
Brought you only in Minnesota. Find your true north and Star of the North. We proudly present Minnesota's new tourism slogan. Bring gas. From the crisp blue waters of our more than 10,000 lakes. Bring gas.
WCCO in Minneapolis is running that as a fake, okay, new tourism slogan ad.
Bring ass.
Bring your ass.
I was watching that live, and Chuck talked after he went after Barkley did, or after Vince Carter. And Vince Carter introduced himself as VC, and then they got to Chuck, and he goes, "CB here." And then Kenny was like, "What, CB?" He's like, "Well, he called himself VC. I don't want him to get confused."
Malik Neighbors of the Giants was asked about their new throwback uniforms, you know, that Montreal Canadiens look. Yeah. And he said, quote, "It's going to be hard to swag it out. That's all I got to say about it."
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're done talking. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett will join us tomorrow. We'll start getting into the conference finals, expecting to also have David Dwork, who covers the Panthers and Rangers. Getting the third round of the NHL playoffs started tomorrow. Have you seen this breaking story by Peter Nakos of On3? Jaden Rashada, let's go back 2 years ago, year and a half ago. He's going to Florida, is getting the big NIL deal. The deal falls apart. He leaves. He spends last year at Arizona State. And then he's leaving Arizona State. He transferred to Georgia. Yeah, he's suing Billy Napier, Marcus Castro Walker, and Hugh Hathcock for a slew of damages. Basically saying, you guys cost me a few million, and I'm suing you.
Well, that's an interesting twist now, isn't it?
Well, we haven't had that happen in the NIL world.
No.
A deal goes south, but
it's one thing to sue the people, the collective, if you will, for screwing up. It's another to sue the head coach.
No doubt. Don't know if he can. All right. Reportedly, he signed a 4-year deal worth between 11 and 14 million. And obviously it never came to be. There was no money there. He transferred. I think he went to Arizona State and didn't get a dime. And he's suing. So I just thought, being reported by On3, that's a new variation. That's a new road we're going down here in this whole brand new world.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see that one, David.
No, I didn't either.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1819, the first bicycles in the U.S. They were called Swift Walkers. They were in New York City. I like bicycle better than Swift Walker.
I was going to say, what did Taylor have to do with that?
The Red Cross was founded today in 1881.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a biggie, right?
Yep. Lindbergh lands in Paris today, the first transcontinental solo flight in 1927. Amelia Earhart did the same thing in 32. They did it on the same days.
Huh.
Yeah. Marvin Gaye released the album What's Going On today in 1971. Fantastic album. Stevie Wonder's Sir Duke hit #1 today in 77. Might be my favorite Stevie Wonder song, in case anybody was wondering. The Canadians win their 4th in a row today in 79, taking down your Rangers, David.
So the Rangers win game 1 after upsetting the heavily favored Islanders in the conference final. Rangers go up to the Forum, win game 1, and Scotty Bowman's panicking. He's going to replace Ken Dryden in goal with Michel Bunny Larocque. He's announced it, and it's happening. And during warm-ups, Larocque gets hit in the head. Remember, that was back in the day in which during warm-ups, because they weren't shooting, at full speed, what have you, the goalies often would put their mask on top of the net. Larocque doesn't have his mask on. Gets hit in the head. They have to go back to Dryden, who gives up 2 goals in the first 90 seconds of the game because he wasn't ready to play. And then the Canadians just dominated the rest of the series.
Today in 1980, The Empire Strikes Back is released.
Ooh.
My favorite movie of all time. Number 1.
Of all time. Better than Rocky IV.
Yes. It's a bit more iconic than Rocky IV is.
Most say it's the best in that whole series of movies.
I would agree. I think it is.
The Islanders go back today in 81.
against the North Stars, right?
Yes.
Because they beat Flyers, North Stars, Canucks, Oilers.
Sad day today in 82, David. WKRP aired its last episode on CP.
Oh. So, we were talking yesterday about taking your morning sports channel and what are we going to do to make it 24/7. And then we figured from noon to midnight, we'll air some of the most underrated shows in history. So I received texts throughout the day yesterday of people nominating the shows. KRP was brought up. Of course, we didn't mention it, but it's left unsaid. Barney Miller. All right. Great sitcom. How about a little night court action? Not the big boys. We're not going Friends and Seinfeld and what have you. We're just the next level.
Yeah, Night Court, highly underrated. What's interesting is we said yesterday was the last episode of Cheers. I think Cheers, the show, as time's gone on, has kind of been buried and would still play today, if you know what I mean. Like,
totally.
Those jokes are still funny.
Yeah. Sammy, the whole world is a dog and I'm wearing Milk-Bone underwear.
Right.
Yeah, those jokes work. By the way, 81 million people for the finale of Cheers. It's the second highest rated finale ever behind MASH.
But David, the best final episode of any show aired today in 1990. There is no sitcom that ever did their finale better than Newhart.
Oh, it's awesome.
Today in 1990, the last episode of Newhart. Tying the two shows back together at the end. He thought it was spectacular.
It was the best.
And Koepka won the PGA a year ago. Ara Parseghian, Johnny Majors, Biggie Smalls, all born today. Bobby Cox is 83. Mr. T is 72. Kent Herbeck and his Homer hanky are 64. Ricky Williams is 47, and Josh Allen, the quarterback, is 28. What did I miss, David?
Oh, you missed a biggie.
Uh-oh.
Can't believe you overlooked this. That's nice and all these sitcoms that ended and what have you, but, Mark, daytime Emmys.
Saw this.
25 years ago today. What's the only thing that we know about the daytime Emmys? Literally.
Susan Lucci lost every single year.
Yeah. She lost 18 or 19 in a row. All right. 19 straight years of being nominated. After 18 consecutive defeats, Susan Lucci wins the Daytime Emmy for Best Actress in a Daytime Soap Opera on All My Children. Erica Kane finally gets a W. 25 years ago today.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to UMass, where billionaire philanthropist Rob Hale. Did you catch this story, David? Surprised the graduates. He gave each graduate $1,000. But there was a condition. They could keep 500. They had to give 500 away. Gave every graduate $1,000 and wanted to teach them a little bit about giving. He said, we want to give you two gifts. The first is our gift to you. The second is the gift of giving. These trying times have heightened the need for sharing, caring, and giving. Our community needs you and your generosity more than ever.
So he's really trusting them because obviously he has no way of knowing.
Correct.
I don't know. Would you give the other 500 away?
Absolutely.
Trent?
Does it? I mean, if I were to go to the ballet as a college graduate and give 500 away there, would that count?
Well, you've already done that, and that is quite a lot of giving, I must add. Trent, if at your college graduation at Michigan State, all right, the person that said, "Hey, congratulations, giving you 1,000, but you got to give 500 of it away," would you have done it?
I mean,
It's
probably
a
not
yes
all
or
five, not all 500.
you'd say, "Hey, I know what he wants, but that's a little too generous."
Yes. How's 250 sound?
For the bad, we go to New Jersey, where a local fire department is reminding residents about the dangers of using gasoline to start indoor fires after they responded to an incident in a home on Friday. Firefighters traveled to a scene, a report of heavy smoke coming from the chimney. They found a guy tried to start the fire in his own house with gasoline and paper towels. Are people that dumb?
Yes. Yes.
Finally, the ugly. We go to Miami, where Melina Logan went to a Honda dealership to test drive a vehicle, but then she refused to stop, and police started their pursuit. She was speeding and aggressively changing lanes, hitting nearly 90 miles an hour on the shoulder to pass vehicles. When she approached a traffic standstill, she crashed into several vehicles before fleeing the car and jumping into the water from a concrete barricade. She refused to grab onto the officer's rope to be pulled out of the water, which led to several officers jumping into the lake to forcefully remove her from the lake. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, May the 21st, 2024.
So it's exciting once you get to conference final time. Here's the bad news. Not a lot of games.
No.
There's no hockey tonight.
Nope.
There's only one basketball game tonight. It's on the 4-letter network. Remember, the East is on ESPN. The West is on TNT for both basketball and hockey. So tonight, Boston, a 10.5-point favorite, 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN. I really think I'm taking the points.
I really think I'm not.
Okay.
Boston's kicked the crap out of the teams they've played in the first 2 rounds.
I think they're going to sweep, and I hate to say that because I hate the Celtics, but they're going to sweep.
Oh, I don't
Indiana,
think they're
nice
gonna
run.
I don't think
Indiana's
they
going to get a game.
I think Indiana will get a game. Boston throws away a game. They threw away a game to the Heat, for goodness sake. The Heat didn't have Butler, didn't have, they were missing 2 starters. So, no, I don't think they sweep. I do think they win in 5. But I think this is Indiana's best shot to get a game in Boston. Okay, they've been playing. They're ready. Celtics haven't played in a week. All right, Indiana's coming off. They can't play better than they just played.
Well, how do you expect them to shoot anywhere close to the way they shot in Game 7? That to me is the part of this, David, that I just find difficult for Indiana to come back. If that's their A-plus performance, can they even come back with a B-plus performance tonight?
I think they can. You know what I also like tonight? The over-under's like 216? Something like that for tonight. I don't know. I'm leaning over. Actually, it's 221.5, which means that they basically think the Celtics are going to win like 116-105. Yeah, I think the Pacers score more than $1.05.
There's value on the Pacers, too. I mean, they're 350 on the money line, plus 350, that is. Hard Rock has it boosted to plus 450. Overdrive boost, if you like Indiana.
NCAA baseball tournaments start today. Big ones and little ones. By the way, we haven't talked about it much. Have you seen University of Miami's record this year in baseball? They're 25-29. Miami. College baseball. I mean, if the Marlins were 25-29, that's one thing. The Canes? Wow. So, big and small tournaments, they're all getting underway. They're getting underway in like 10 minutes all over the country. FGCU in 10 minutes in the A-Sun tournament in DeLand. Everybody's playing in Major League Baseball. No afternoon games. So the Marlins continue to host the Brewers and the Rays continue to host the Red Sox.
Tampa gets a little break with Eflin being hurt for 2 to 4 weeks. So they actually, after a big stretch where they played a bunch of games, they've got Thursday off, they've got Monday off, they've actually got some days off coming here where they might be able to finagle their pitching to get through these 2 weeks a little more efficiently than they would have the previous 2 weeks, if you know what I mean.
Eflin went on the IL yesterday with a back injury. It could be 4 weeks. They're hoping closer to 2, but it could be 4. Hey, have a great rest of your day, and thanks for joining us. We are Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.